It's a brand new year, 2025, and that means brand new episodes of Around the Mage Table, the podcast for the rest of us. This is episode 34. Shawnee, how's 2025 treating you?
It's been pretty decent. I'm doing the whole lose weight. It's a new year thing for a few weeks, and I'll probably give up.
Well, I hope you don't.
I hope I don't too.
You know that new season of Reacher's coming out. That'll motivate you.
Yeah, if anything's going to keep me alive, it is the TV shows I'll lay and watch.
That'll help you on your efforts to lose some weight, right?
Scrap Claws 2025 off to a good start when it comes to hardcore scrap.
Yes, I'm level 57.
Ooh, close.
Yeah.
How many times have you gotten to the point where you thought I'm dead but didn't die?
Probably 5 times.
Yeah.
Legit. Not that many times.
And
but
you
hopefully
stopped playing
next
because
podcast,
of all the snowstorms.
Right, yeah, I did take a break and I got back into the keys. so
that's
great for
my
WoW
follow-up question.
addiction.
How's 2025 doing for retail scrap?
No, I'm done with retail again.
Now, in fairness, you were timing some 12s, but they were very
What? I timed 12s, yeah.
I know, but I was
I
gonna
timed
say
a bunch of 12s
it was a little shaky.
No, it was fine. I'm just out of shape.
We did a 14, immediately dropped it to a 13, immediately dropped it to a 12. And
I bricked my 13 faster than anybody ever seen. I accidentally put the 13 in when we were supposed to do an 11. So that was bricked on the first pull. So yeah, I'm a little out of shape.
Well, you also on the first boss of Stone Vault, you walked into not one but 2 pillars, which I will add a clip of.
You play that clip, it's really
funny.
funny.
Of course I will.
Yep. Who broke it?
You did.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
As you're saying, you guys got that?
Why?
Where you go, what happened? As you walked right into him. Anyways,
I know exactly what happened.
What happened?
Now we are joined by someone I have not seen before. Is your name Tech Nike?
It's TK and Q is what the Dota people are calling me.
So
TK.
Call you that.
So
Yeah,
Technique, you said
you can say
before,
Technique.
you dropped this bombshell before we started. You said I've unsubbed.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not going to assume anything. I want you to tell us what is going on. You know, is it the the financial?
Like
troubles?
Shawnee said, bro.
Have you lost your job?
I need that $15 a month. Yeah. No, it's Shawnee has inspired me. He's going to lose weight. I'm going to lose my dramatic loss of time that dumps into this game.
What the reason?
No real reason.
There's
There's a lull in the game. I'm not really drawn to it right now. I may return for season 2, but not not likely. I got a lot going on with the house repairs being finished finally, and there's a lot for me to now do to kind of put things back how it needs to be. Lots of holiday stuff going on. Just not a lot of reason to play WoW right now.
Well,
and there's a lot of reasons not to, given the stuff going on around my real life.
Yeah.
So
I think that makes sense. But we're gonna see. Hopefully, according to Scrap, it's in March. But I say last week of February. Right when the turbulent time ends. That's where we're expecting season 2.
I have a really good inside source that says it's March, so
you mean the blue post?
I'm not going to get baited into that. So anyways, Technique, you don't think by the end of 2 months from now, you don't think you'll be back? With all the excitement of the Goblin Zone, the Undermined, what is it, the Intercontinental or whatever it's called?
And you get a car. You get a car to drive that
part
you can soup
actually
up.
is not fun for me. I don't want more vehicles in the game.
I mean, you can't
no
fly.
one ever. What?
I think that's just too much. Let's take a break on the vehicles.
Yeah.
All right. Well, if you don't come back, though,
what
are we going to do? I don't know if you're going to be able to continue in the podcast. Are you going to start a Dota podcast?
I could answer all of your questions, but relate them to Dota.
Sick.
Okay. Well, I do think, again, I think spoke about this last week. It is not a bad idea. It's a healthy idea, I think, to take a break from WoW every once in a while. But I'm actually having quite a bit of fun still. Right?
Yeah.
Oh, you mean the hint or whatever? Okay. Well, I'm going to jinx us. I think it's a short one today. What do you say, odd, Shawnee?
I figure somehow it'll get long. You guys will argue about something way too long.
Something to get hung up on.
I think we haven't talked. I haven't talked to any of you in 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's true.
So we got plenty to talk
asshole.
about. Yeah, just long enough to say you wouldn't miss me on the podcast.
Yeah, yeah. Something like that. He's paraphrasing.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get into Scrap. You're the trading post expert. Have you already completed? Yeah, of course you are. You're the one that,
I completed my trading post. Dude, I never complete my trading post until the last fucking second of the day, and then sometimes I still don't. This month's trading post.
Gorgeous little peacock. Is that new? I don't know if that's new or not.
Yeah, that's new. It's a new color, but they had the same model a couple months ago.
In the trading post? Oh, okay.
Yep.
All right. Well, this is back. This is actually a really good looking, although I can't click it for some reason.
Yeah, it's sick, dude. I might get that.
But otherwise, some goblin / gnome.
Hey, the dog's entirely new. Wind up Wuffin.
Yeah.
I really like that transmog. I got it for my.
This one right here.
Yeah, I don't know if I got it as
this
green,
is the
but I
Mage
got it.
set. What are you talking about?
I got it for my rogue.
Fuck up. Don't start.
I got that for my rogue, and then these two really big fist weapons.
Yeah, the fist weapons are sick.
So it looks like looks like Scrap.
Reward.
The fist reminds me of the chick from that show we said season 2 sucked up.
You know, this whole all of these look like Arcane.
Yeah, so I was like feeling it. So I was like, yeah, now
you mentioned that, yeah.
The first fucking thing I bought was the fists, dude. The fists are sick.
Yeah,
they're so cool.
Why don't I see them on here? That's so strange.
They're the end reward. Here, scroll up to
yeah.
It's is it Doomfist? Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
screenshots.
Where are screenshots?
Oh,
good thing to be working on here. Transmog wit. No, okay, whatever. I'm not worrying about it.
Just go up, click on the picture.
Edit it in there.
Up a little. Go up a little, and then to the left. Can you click on that?
Hold on.
You can see that, Frank? Can you see that?
Work.
Anyways.
Yeah.
We won't get digress on that, but as we all have seen you Scrap squander to try to get yours done, have you lost your step with do you even get credit on hardcore / classic for stuff? No. Oh, well.
Get no credit towards trading post for hardcore. Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's talk about something else that you're the correspondent on. The new Warband campsite screens.
Oh, see, this is what's gonna make it a 2-hour freaking episode, Frank. I gotta be angry.
So I think I sent this to you. Yeah, so okay.
That's a bad thing.
My initial reaction when I saw this was, okay, Scrap's gonna like this because she said, I want more, right? And this is more.
Yeah.
Shawnee, I think you also said the same, and I think you guys have differing. No, you're saying no?
I want more backgrounds. Okay. I like the idea of it. Yeah.
So is this a good thing, Shawnee? Scrap, keep it to yourself for a second.
I'm trying.
That they're making more, or just how you get them?
Well, and I'd say that they've released I think 4 more. Yeah, they're gonna have 4 more in the new patch. So is this good? Is this like, yeah, okay, cool.
I personally think it's good. I know what Scrap's gonna say, so I'll yield the rest of the time because I don't need to see what she's gonna say.
Yielding the time would give it to her.
I mean, like, let her have her say about this because she's way more passionate about it. I'm more of a I'm happy. I'm like, cool. There's some more screens, and now I'm ready for Scrap to yell.
Okay.
Scrap, are they making you pay actual money for it?
Yes.
No, it's like achievement stuff.
Well, one you get free.
Well,
great.
And then
the other one's tied to the okay, so yeah, Oharan is automatically unlocked when you log in. So that's right, Shawnee. There's one with the Delver's Journey, one that has to do with the Khazalgar meta achievement, and then one that has to do, I think, with the Undermined meta achievement, which is the Grand Galagio Gallery. All right, Scrap, yell away.
All right, the Warband screen in general is so unbelievably underwhelming based on how easily I know that they could make it cool. Like, give us 30 fucking options. At least give us an option of like each area being the area that our characters are from. You know, like even the original login screen, you have more backgrounds. You know, it's ridiculous that we only have 1 and that they're giving us 4 and it's like, oh, this is supposed to be a big deal. You can't even pose your characters. You can't do anything. 4 is a paltry fucking amount to give us.
I think no one would disagree that I don't think it's as easy as just saying, well, the Iron Forge background and the, whatever, because like, yes, it may be just as simple as recording a video, but there's also obviously like positioning and everything. But again, I don't think that's very difficult to do, but it does show that they're not like abandoning the idea and they're adding to it.
Yeah, I don't want to give them credit for 4 freaking screens.
All right, Shawnee, you had your hand up.
That's me.
Yeah, no, this brings me to like, I didn't know this was going to come up. So it brings me into a question that I want to ask you guys anyway. It's not the question of the week. It's kind of related to this. I read something about basically someone who's worked for WoW and for Riot and now has their own game studio is like, video game companies worry too much about polish. And he's like, gamers don't care about the polish of the game. They just would rather have the game sooner than later.
And that's 100% true.
False.
I say false.
This is like sitting here listening to Scrap yell about how she feels about this, which is, it's totally fine. I'm not saying she's wrong. I feel like, everyone I know who plays games is more worried about polish than it coming out like super on time.
Okay.
Like so even like the load-in screen. Do you know what I mean? Like, Scrap lost her mind. And I'm like,
I'm still losing my mind because you know what? Each and every one of you guys said to me, you said, oh, they're probably going to add more.
Well, they did, technically.
You were giving them credit for it before they even did it. And I feel like
they did it.
Warband screen too.
They did it, Scrap.
No, it wasn't good still. It was still bad.
Sure, but that's not the...
No, but even when we saw the way it is currently now, everybody was like, oh, it's probably going to change from season
Not
to
everyone
season.
believed that. No, not everyone
People said it, though, and they were trying to give Blizzard credit for like a cool layup they're definitely going to do, and they just didn't do it. I feel like that's the way Warband screens are.
I think, and this is related back to what Shawnee just said, I think Blizzard does a really bad job of like releasing information before it's actually going to happen, and then to get the community all pumped, and then they also like get all shitty about stuff. Like, why is it that I know everything that's happening like 6 months in advance about WoW? I don't give a fuck about 4 new screens. Yeah, 4 is a really small number.
But do you think
compared to what it could be?
Do you think the problem technique therein lies that people take the sliver of information they're giving that is very like not super descriptive, and then they create it in their mind like they said we're gonna give you more campfire warband backgrounds, and Scrap's like, I expect 35, and they're like, well, we never said we were, and they've never said they're gonna do 35, and when she gets 4, she's like, this is bullshit, and they're like, well, we said we're gonna give you more
next season, right?
Look, I'm just saying in general. Well, hold on.
So I wanted to finish my thought because
you didn't even start a thought. How are you finishing it?
He cut me.
This might be his last episode, Scrap. Give him a chance.
All I was going to say is I feel like by releasing this information in advance, you're just giving the community a chance to create their own expectation and then have you miss it inevitably because that's just how expectation works. So,
Blizzard's I think notorious for their soon trademark, right? And I know it's not really a trademark, but like, they have been usually very tight-lipped, but part of the evolution of what happened in Shadowlands was the idea of more transparency, right? We wanted transparency from them because we felt like since they were so tight-lipped that it would cause the inverse of this problem, which is people saying Blizzard doesn't care and that they're not working on anything. And then, of course, when it all was released in like a video or whatever, it'd just be like kind of still falling on deaf ears because people would be like, I don't care, right?
I have a really like probably shitty opinion on that. I think stop telling the community shit and develop the game better without relying on our feedback.
When they tell us shit, then people talk about it, and when people talk about it, they get free advertising.
That's fine. The media is fine. The advertising is fine. I get that aspect, but trying to cater to so many people's bullshit opinions is probably not good practice for the game's actual development.
That's a different question then, because do you think that we are swaying their development?
Yeah.
No.
Right. So we have player housing coming, right?
Hold on. Let's reverse back to before this patch came out and we talk about all the Xalatath stuff that was like gonna be done, and then everyone shit their pants and they said, whoop, never mind, we're not gonna do that. Yeah, we're absolutely impacting.
That's a different topic of like don't overpromise.
That's PTR stuff too, right? Like that's on the PTR saying, "Hey, we are testing this and we hate it." Versus a 6-month advance, like, "Hey, okay." So when the expansion launched, right back in September, whatever it was, everyone was so. Actually, I think it was even at BlizzCon the year before. They're like, "Oh my god, I love the Warband screen," and I think it was Taliesin was like, "Hey, do you think we'll have more?" And this was a year and a half ago. They said, "Yeah, we will probably expand this and grow it." Right now, to Scrap's point. A year later, plus whatever, they only added 4 screens. Okay, I get it. But on the inverse, I would also say, well, while that may not be a lot of dev time, right, it might be very minor, it's still like they're not wasting the time. Like it would come from somewhere else, and what would that somewhere else be?
Yeah, we've talked about that before. It's hard to say. It's like, would you rather have more Warband screens and less like Mythic Plus testing? It's like, well, okay, you can't.
So here's something else that comes with the new Warband screen. You can now make multiple camps as well, right? So you can group certain, like and we're not, I don't think any of us have more than, I have 5 alts, but I don't play one because it's a Disc Priest, and Disc Priest is just cancer to me. But like you can make a Warband camp of, let's say you're a person that has 3 Death Knights, right? You could do a Death Knight Warband camp, which, you know, in time might have a Death Knight-esque background that you really like, right? So, and then of course, hopefully poses and stuff will come with it. So I think this is one of those things where to say like, well, yeah, if they maybe put a week's worth of dev, let's say 40 hours worth of dev into it, they could come up with 35 more screens, right? 1 hour per screen, we'll just say. But would that generate the same amount of excitement as something even as small as the new Affix that's coming into M+, right?
So I do want to say my issue with the Warband screen in general is like leftover disappointment from just like the War Within launch, where it's like, okay, what are the things that we're like bringing that are new? It's like the expansion features, let's say, and it's like Warbands and Delves, and I find Delves very underwhelming. What?
Hero Talents.
And what?
Hero Talents.
Oh god, Hero Talents are, you know how I feel about those. But like as compared to like dragon flying, Warband has disappointed me.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh my god, I'll take Warbands over. No,
well, okay,
absolutely not. Warbands, I will take them over the dragon flying any day.
The quality of life changes were good and necessary.
Dragon flying, dude, that's amazing. You want to float around your mount and just like AFK in the air.
If you were to take dragon flying away right now, I'd be of course disappointed, right? I'd be like, oh, because I'm moving slower.
Yeah.
But I would not trade it in the world for Warbands. Warbands have made my alts so much better.
The Warband feature
Let's address that as we
fine.
hit question of the week later. I want to come back to that.
Say the Warband change is fine, but I feel like it was a necessary quality of life upgrade as opposed to like a cool expansion feature.
Yeah, but I don't even feel like, opinion, I mean, like flying now is more fun for sure, right?
Yeah.
But it's not one of those things that's going to draw me back to the game.
For Warband screens, Will?
No, not the screens, but no, don't conflate the screens with Warbands.
I think
Warbands are what draw me back.
If I wasn't playing WoW, if I took a break, like Technique's gonna, and break my heart. If I was on a break and someone said, all right, you can fly, but in a different way, or this big quality of life thing you've always wanted is now in the game.
Yeah,
I'd be like,
can gear up within seconds, kind of thing.
Yeah, and like, you know, you share all your renown, you don't have to do all these quests over.
The renown thing's pretty sick.
Yeah, like there's a lot of stuff I would rather take that than flying plus.
I want to take this one step further and say, because you mentioned this is what's going to bring you back to the games, a change to how you play your alts.
Warbands,
you log in every day and you decide which character you're going to play for the day. Is it, I'm going to play my alt because I got nothing left to do in my main, or I'm going to play my alt because I kind of like my alt now and it might be my new main?
I don't like my alt more than I like my main, but I like playing my Enhancement Shaman. I like playing my Mistweaver Wank.
If you had shit to progress on your main, would you play the others?
If time were of a crunch, right, where I only could do, let's just say 4 keys for the week, and my
Take
main
the gates out. Take all the gates out where you can't like max all your shit. If there was just enough shit to keep you busy on your main, would you even give a fuck about your alts?
Yes, I would.
Yeah, I would.
Yes, I would, because I geared my alts alongside my main when he still had progress.
He's a different breed than you and me, Technique.
No, I would be with Frank on that. Like, because there's times where I'm just like, I need a break.
So you're going to fall behind the rest of the community on your main because you have some pretty little enhancement shaman to
a pretty little enhancement shaman. Shut up.
You're assuming everyone else is also just going to keep up at this like astronomical pace.
That's the thing, though. My main is better geared than all. Like I think I'm the only one that has all mythic track gear, right?
And that's because
it's because of Warbands. I didn't have to worry about all the little useless shit I would have to do on my ults before. and I could just go straight into my main. Yes, I fill up my vault, and then I go, cool, I'm going to go on ahead now and do some... It got to the point now, granted, I play a lot, so like, let's be clear. If the people who are constrained on time may have a different viewpoint on this, but I do believe that the people who have constrained time, like if I did, I'd still say, well, okay, maybe I can't fill my vault with 8 mythics on Frank, but I can do 4 on him and then do 4 on my shaman, which I love playing enhancement. And hell, Ellie looks really fun too.
I don't know how we got off topic, like.
Well, because we're talking about this idea of like
the ability of playing alts or what?
Well, no, just the idea of like, is Warbands the thing that was such a big deal? And this is a very nice little thing. Again, it's little. So like, let's be clear. I am surprised to Scrap's point that 4 is the only number, because I don't feel like, and I think Tech, you even said this like a week or two ago, whatever, that, you know, you should be able to put a camera and just record the area and then, you know, yada, yada, yada.
You press a button and it records a 10-second GIF.
I wouldn't be surprised if they don't have 35 ready and they're like, yeah, we're just going to release 4 every season. Because people every season will be like, oh, 4 more, and they'll be happy. If they got all 35, and they'd be like, honestly, that's how I feel people work with that play WoW. They'd be like, oh, we got 35, and then like the next season they'd be like, where's another 35?
Maybe.
I'm just saying, you're before the Warband screen, you have your character screen, and your character is in the place that they're from. Every single race has its own. Some classes have their own. Like, and then we go down to 1. It feels disappointing.
No, well, we're going up to 5.
Yeah, but Scrap, how many? So other than launch of vanilla,
this isn't a make or break. Like, oh my god, this is really upsetting me and stuff. I'm just saying, I find Warband screens very disappointing.
But to your point, Scrap, of the starting zones, right? So Ironforge, Stormwind, and that the
different sounds to them, different ambient sounds.
Other than the ones that came at launch of WoW, they only launched 2 in expansion.
Yeah.
So like Draenei and Blood Elves and BC. Wrath had Death Knights, and then what? Demon Hunters.
I'm not saying it's
monks?
like, oh, like, you know, like the precedent is they give us 1 Warband screen everything.
It's like
that we're going from like 20 screens to 1.
I think we're going from like 8 screens. No, sorry, the Horde and Alliance. So yeah, like let's say 15.
Yeah,
right?
Horde and Alliance plus like Death Knight.
But at this pace,
Demon
by the end of this
Hunter,
expansion, we'll have as many screens as 10 expansions worth versus 1 expansion's worth.
Yeah, I don't think you're convinced me on this. I think that Warband screens are lame.
We'll move on.
We can move on.
D.R.I.V.E.
Believe in math. Yeah.
First impressions, all right? So I haven't done this personally, but I've watched some YouTube videos. And I've seen Squishy say that he gets motion sick from it very badly.
Really? Oh no.
That said, I didn't feel like it was that bad when I was watching it on YouTube, right? So it does look like it moves very quickly, and it does look like it's fun to drive, like the drifting part of it as well. And I'm sure we haven't even like seen. Sorry, that was just an aggro radius. I don't think it really matters. I'm sure we haven't even seen the maxed out level where they'll just like.
Is it like
be super?
It's like a Mario Kart or something. Yeah. Oh, like drifting. So, this looks fun to me. This is cool. I like this.
And they have the here. I'll show you this Scrap real quick because this is him doing it. I don't. This is a $1 game. I'm not familiar with them, but I saw.
I'm definitely gonna waste a lot of time.
I like
mailing sets. All of them.
But yeah, like, you know, they got some fun looking races, and you know, you're driving over a golf course and all that stuff. So Technique, you said earlier, like, you don't need any of this. I don't disagree. We don't need this, right? But this does look fun, does it not?
I love this.
It looks like they're just doing another game inside the game. I don't hate it. I don't love it. I don't really care about it. It doesn't do anything for me. I'm not going to fuck with this. I'm going to get into a mythic dungeon.
As far as games inside the games, though, this one looks hype. Whereas, like, I hate when a quest just throws you like a match 3 or the fucking untangle the ropes or whatever. That it's just like, dude, why am I literally even doing this?
Well, and imagine what the quest could look like in the future expansions, where there's some sort of RP where you need to get in a vehicle or whatever, and you could make something out of this with this technology. That'd also be fun.
Can we do a dungeon with this?
Who knows? Maybe there will be. Maybe at the end of the expansion, they'll be like, okay, now we can incorporate this into a fun fight, like they did with Tindril.
Yeah.
So maybe I'm like super negative and terrible, but I would actually prefer if the questing experience was like a little slower, a little more meaningful, a little more like difficult, a little more story. and not like, oh, let's just go drive more fucking vehicles as fast as possible through some rings. Because
this would be technique. I'm pretty sure this is not like a quest as far as like a regular
World
mission.
quest.
This looks like a dragon flying world quest.
Yeah, world quest.
Yeah.
No, but technique. This also comes surprising because I don't feel like you really cared about the story and the questing. You said you were just going to rush through.
No, I don't care about this story and the questing.
Which one do you care about?
That we have? I loved and paid attention to the stuff in Classic and Burning Crusade and all that.
So Warcraft 3 lore is what you're worried about.
Not worried about. Anyway, this stuff doesn't really appeal to me. Neither did the dragon flying stuff, right? Like I didn't really care for. I know you got into it really good, Scrap, and that's cool.
Yeah.
And that's cool. Like I said, it's just not for me. It doesn't really get me.
It's fine.
Doesn't really get me going.
As the thing is that there's always going to be world quests. They're not taking that out of the game because that's what keeps people subbed, right? Like having world quests to do every time. But like just like the go fly over here and kill 12 of this real fast. Okay, go do the fucking I don't even know. Like put flowers on a ram or whatever. Like I hate those. I like world quests like this that are actually enjoyable.
My favorite world quests are doing the Bejeweled games.
World quests to me,
the Bejeweled games suck
should
ass.
Should be like a group effort, like the whole server's working toward, like Encourage type stuff back in the day.
Yeah, but then you have dead servers, or you've okay. So even like looking at
they could balance that out with now that they've got server rings or whatever they call them. You wouldn't have that problem.
Shards. No, but,
you would for world quests because people get the renown and they generally are kind of like, I'm done now.
Or they do it all Tuesday.
Well,
and
that's
you can't
assuming
play
you keep the renown thing in. No, I'm saying things that you could. Anyway, long story of what I would do, but
you got to leave this up.
I'm watching the video now that you got it going.
They put they put like Subway surfers on the side of a TikTok so you pay attention. This is great for me.
Yeah.
Scratch back in. Okay, so I guess
that's what I like and don't like, and I like this. So.
Well, and I was gonna say, how much are you gonna invest in this, Scrap?
Oh, look, Scrap, you can amp it up.
Yeah, I like this. If this is a world quest and I have to do 5 world quests to finish up my fucking Traveler's Log because all I do is keys, I'm going to do these before I do the kill 12 goblins or whatever.
Of course.
Yeah, and I always do all the dragon flying ones first before I do anything. I even do the fucking raft ones before I do the kill 12 things.
I love the raft ones.
Well, the raft ones are good too.
They're fine. I feel like, again, it
Hold on.
sucks.
This looks
really
janky, this looks like it starts like oh, never mind. Okay, I thought he just drive in a circle. That's like Burnout.
This is great like interactivity with the city and really getting to enjoy these vistas that they crafted.
Okay. Question for
and
you,
I like that. Yes.
You know this I think better than anyone. So didn't they have
I'm the expert
dragon
at a lot
fighting?
of things.
Didn't they have in dragon fighting where you could race people? Like at a given time?
Yeah, but I never did it because you'd have to like wait for someone, and I tried it and it was really buggy at the beginning of the expansion, and I just I didn't get it because there was no rewards for it that I know of, so I didn't really feel like doing it.
That's what I want to see out of this is where we can race each other.
Yeah, we get to play Mario Kart.
Even if it's like a 4-player race that's Blizzard. Put that in.
Put that in, Blizzard.
Okay. Anything else we want to talk about with Drive, or can we move on?
No, I love Drive. I can't wait to drive.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm hyped.
So
can't wait to drive.
We mentioned this before. We got to see it firsthand. The new Swirlies are in. Shawnee, you were in a quick attempt.
Oh, that's good.
Yesterday.
Yeah.
With the dungeon, right? Here's just a picture of it, for example. So this is the new defined. Well, it's not very good to see on the podcast, but this is the new defined circles that you'll see.
Is that the get out circle? Like get out of that?
Yeah, you're not supposed to be in it.
Okay. How are they differentiating it from a soak circle? Because I think that I always associate the empty ones with soak. And the full ones.
Okay, I'll give you an example. There's the last boss in the new dungeon, and they will drop water on the floor, which is not harmful to you, and that does not have this effect on it. Okay. Cool. And the job of the goal of the fight is that you'll have this lightning orb chase you, and in order to stop it from chasing you, you got to drag it into one of the waters, and that's when it will become electrocuted. And when that happens, the circle forms around it. So they might be using this to say circle formed means get out, right? Because even if you get in, I don't think there's ever been an instance that we've experienced where someone thought they were in the circle and they weren't, right? And it killed us or whatever.
Oh, with the soak, yeah.
Yeah, hey, everyone stack on the person with the circle, someone may have missed it, but it's not because they were on the edge of the circle and they didn't know. It's because they were being a donkey and didn't pay attention.
Yeah, donkey behavior.
But I think this is really good. I think it's gonna be really helpful. Now, that said, though, How many times have any of us been in a position where we die according to the circle, but our feet are very clearly like not even close? Does this solve that problem?
I feel like it's most of the time that we have that, it's on the less defined circles, like the ones in Siege of Borealis, where it's like very fuzzy edge, or like
that one's the worst of ever. Like that's the
worst. As far as circles go, but I honestly think the biggest offender is like the beams. Like there's beams in you got me saying City of Threads on the second boss where there are these big purple beams. They are egregiously bigger than they look. And they don't have a defined edge. The second boss, the duo boss, the big purple lines.
Oh, they're not that bad.
They are. They are. You probably just never near them. But like literally, they're like a line, beams. And they're actually a cone. Like they're a wide cone. Like you can't be in the front. Like like I don't even go to 180 of those. It's brutal.
I've never experienced that, but I thought those were very.
You're a ranged guy, so you probably wouldn't.
Wouldn't the cone affect me more?
Well, I guess so. I don't know, but I'm like there.
I'm with Scrap. I've definitely had them hit me when I'm like, I am definitely not close enough for that.
I will refer everyone back to the original Scrap video where she says, "What am I doing?" as she walks into 2 pillars. So
no, hold on, I heard.
I think this is more of a user error.
No, they're definitely. I've seen other people die to it too, where they don't look like they're in it.
Those are bad, yeah.
Well, this is a step obviously in the right direction. Yeah.
Step in the right direction. We like it. In Final Fantasy, they have really obvious telegraphs, like with hard lines around everything, and I thought that was like a huge quality of life update. If you're pushing content, I don't want I'd rather stuff be clear than stuff be immersive. Of course, yeah. So if they can strike a good balance between it, because like obviously I don't want like a bright red circle that says don't. It says in it, don't walk here.
A skull.
Like, I want it to look like it's the effect of the boss. But I want it to be fair, so this is a step in the right direction.
I'd hate for every circle on the ground to look like this. I really would like.
They have some distinction.
Immersive. There's red ones. There's green ones.
Well, even beyond that, there's distinction though to like how they fill the circle. Also is nice.
And they need to have the edge, and that's what the big quality of life upgrade is.
I don't have a picture of it because Wowhead hasn't written an article of it, but I will at this point show a scene of someone doing it. But they have the new Affix also in the PTR testing, where it is what we thought it would be. Is a ball is trailing around you. It's just like swinging, like kind of like a flail would be over your head, and you just have to hit another player with the ball, and it'll break it. But
that's so fun.
I don't know what it is like I don't know if you accidentally hit a mob with it, it doesn't look like that, but I'm worried that that's what's gonna be a thing, like where
but it'll be miserable in melee.
Yeah, well, it'd be miserable period if you're a tank, right? Like you're just gonna immediately hit everything. So I don't think that'll be the case. Nor does it look like it would affect the boss. Maybe it's just like if you don't clear them, that's when it's a problem. But it also looked like it lasted quite a bit of time, so there shouldn't be ever a mechanic where you're like, oh, I can't because I have to get out or whatever. So that looks like it's gonna be fun too. Sorry, I just want to make a note. There we go.
You said you got a little clip of that?
Yeah, I'll pull a clip of it and put it on the I don't have one up right now because there's like a billion of them on Twitch. I'm not gonna scour Twitch right now.
Let's just pretend we're reacting to it. Oh, that was great.
I'll put it back up here, of course, right?
Really good. Put it up. Yeah, there it is.
That was really cool, man.
Wow, they did a really good job on that.
Okay, so Scrap. Why do I think the patch is going, or the 11.1 is going to come before March? Well, they've released the raid testing schedule, and they are going to have not only all testing, except for, of course, Last Boss, which they never test anymore, all testing completed from normal. The full raid will be available next Friday, right? And all the Mythic and Heroic testing will be done by, January 24th. So not even the end of January, like a week before January ends. That doesn't mean that they won't do additional testing. They have done that many times before. But I think based on this raid testing schedule, we will see February launch date. I really don't want you to cling to your hopes of a March, which by the way isn't great for us.
I'm only clinging to the hopes because I was so adamant about telling everybody about it when I heard from my source that was the case. So I really want that to be true.
Every time you say your source, I die a little.
I'm not so worried about the raid schedule. The biggest thing to me is how many screens are they going to have available to us
That's
for the
what I'm
Warband.
saying, dude.
They're probably developing more of those, which will hold us out till March.
Yeah, they better have that. It's like, you know how they walk back the affixes before War Within drop? The outrage from the
Warband
screens.
screens.
No one is outraging the screens except for you, Scrap.
I need everybody to rally behind outraging
I'm
over
not
the
saying
screens.
people aren't disappointed going, oh, I thought there'd be more. But no one's getting ready to say, I'm quitting and unsubbing.
If they add new screens, I will take everything back about all my trepidations about the entire game for the rest of my life.
Scrap had to buy a new mouse.
Do you hear that? That is some okay. I'm gonna write a forum post and say, Blizzard, here's your chance.
Okay, deal. It's worth it for the Warband screen. Rest of my hardcore life.
No. Well, as it changes,
you might hit 60 and quit and live forever.
I'll kill myself. It's fine.
Wow. Okay, moving the goalposts. Okay. Well, we have raid testing, but we also have M+ testing, which they're approaching it differently this time around. I actually think this is good because last time, like, it just didn't make sense. They were all over the place with. I think it was beta testing, but whatever. So already open is the new dungeon. Okay, Shawnee, I'm gonna let you explain the 10 seconds we did of it last night. If you remember anything at all that you think would stand out to what we might like.
When we there's these like 5 crates you have to click on. Someone has to click on them. All 5 of you don't have to. And they get a big circle around it, and someone will tell you, like the people in the dungeon with you, you need to get out of that or it will kill you. And you'll say it's only a +2. It's not going to happen. And it will, sure as heck, shoot you across the room and kill you. And it was hilarious.
That's not even the best of it.
Do you
remember the mob that would do something that would build Fortnite-esque, I think is what the term we use. I don't know if you were in it.
I didn't get to that. We know because our key fell apart, and then I was like,
you were in it. I don't know if you saw it because of the chaos.
Oh yeah, I did the little tower thing. Yeah. The scaffolding thing. You have to knock it down. I loved that.
Well, and it rebuilds it too, so it can be all of a sudden back up on. Yeah, it did it. Rebuilt it.
Yeah, I wasn't there when it rebuilt, but yeah, no, I thought the dungeon, I got to the first boss. I enjoyed it. I liked it. It's a nice big dungeon. I don't know if you can, but it looked like you could kind of choose a bit of your own route. So I like that too.
Yeah, I'll go in and look it up. So we didn't get very far because everyone on the PTR only seems to care about doing 2 seconds of polls and then quits. But from what we saw, Big Mama is a ad fight. So the way it works is she has four guys robots that are around her that keep sniping, and then they do this really crazy, like every 2 seconds, send everyone kind of flying around that you have to interrupt. No one was interrupting that in our pugs, which is why we kept wiping on it. And then, of course, once we kill all the ads, she takes a ton of damage, and then we can continue to rinse and repeat. Pretty fun fight, Shawnee, would you say?
I liked it. Yeah, for the first boss, I thought it was really good. I like fights that have more than just slam into it.
Well, of course, yeah. But it was a fun fight. I do think it actually might be a pug killer, though. Yes, Teching?
Yeah.
Oh, what does MOMMA stand for?
Mama.
Oh yeah. What you mean? What's it stand up for, Mama?
Are they just putting dots in for fun?
Yeah, maybe.
No, I'm sure it's
I'm gonna make a note. I'm gonna Google and find if I can, or get on the PTR and find out what that Mama.
I'm on it right now.
Here, let's see if it says in the overview. No, it doesn't. Okay.
Maybe in a quest it will or something.
We'll see. Okay. The second boss is essentially I say council. It's only 2 bosses, but they effectively have bombs that they drop that you have to knock up into the air to explode. Otherwise, they kill everyone. And the way you do that is through the tank buster, and I think there's what is it called? Giga Zap or something like that. I can't remember. But yeah, Thunder Punch is something that can knock them back as well, I think. Swamp Face Scrap. This is going to be something that kills you all the time. You're going to get linked. So? You get linked to someone. And if you break the link, I think it murders everyone in the world. So,
oh god, hilarious! Because I do try to run away from links. I realize when we're doing that stupid boss and raid.
Then they also have these is it mudslides or something that skewering roots that causes tides to come out, and there's a lot of them from what I saw. And so of course you're gonna be pulling your person that's rooted to you like crazy. And then the Oh, the Demolition Dude is the one that has this one. So this is the last boss right here. The last boss is Giesel Gigazap, and he's the one that he has these big lines, which are very clearly defined, I feel. So the line, again, is also included in this revamp, I think. But also, he has the thing where he'll drop a lightning orb, and you have to trail it into a little water. Didn't seem that hard, other than maybe for the healer. But I say all this knowing that we went on the PTR, we all got mythic, what was it, 671 gear kind of, level.
Yeah, something like that.
We were all geared to the teeth and did a +2, and it wasn't a slouch, right? In fact,
correct.
Shawnee, we also forgot to talk about the other spell that was like insanely loud and scared the shit out of us. Do you remember what it was?
I don't remember what it was, but I just remember being like, what the hell does that sound?
So Scrap and Tech, there's these mobs that are, big goblin shredders, right? And
the blade thing.
Yeah, he throws his saw hands on the ground, and there's 5 of them, and it like sounds like the whole earth has just shattered.
Oh no.
Whoa! Oh. What is that?
Watch out for those.
Whoa!
Watch out for those.
That was very loud.
It was so loud.
Dude, this Og guy's just standing in this, by the way.
Oh no!
And they just start grinding like crazy, and of course they hurt. So that's also a fun little mob in there. All in all, Shawnee, good dungeon, even though we didn't see all of it.
Yeah, 100%. Like if we had 5 of us to go in and do the dungeon, I'd be happy to like slog through it, even if it did get to a point where it was like Tazavesh was there, where it was like stupidly overtuned on a boss or whatever.
I don't think it was overtuned. I think just not knowing anything was what was.
No, but I mean, like if I would still stick it out for that.
Yeah.
Like in PTR, just to say like we got through it.
So again, all in all, I think this is good. And what I wanted to talk about here before we talk about the changes to the other dungeons, which I think are going to be a concern, was this. We talked about the Scrap quickly last night. Mm-hmm. This was something I realized that it happens once in a while. So taking an environment that's out in the world already and making a dungeon out of it, right? So for example, Nakut Offensive, of course, is the entire zone, right? But you have things like Dawnbreaker, which is essentially rebuilding the zone from what it was.
It's a zone, yeah.
Yeah, Ruby.
Yeah, so
Ruby,
partly, yes. I mean, some of it's outside that you've already been, but some of it's like interior that we can't get into. But yes,
but there's like world quests in there. Oh, you can't. Don't go all the way inside it. I guess
that the dungeon should be a place that exists in the game.
Yeah, Brackenhide, right? So
they always have those. Yeah.
But that's the thing. They always have them. Like I think we counted like at most 2 per an expansion kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I think this is like the key to getting more dungeons out in an expansion is to maybe
reusing it. Yeah.
Well, essentially like your first 8 dungeons, and even then Priory and Dawnbreaker this go around are, essentially using areas that are open. But like for the expansion launch, that's where you build out your personalized dungeons that are somewhere we can't go. And of course, like if Dawnbreaker, which is a very thematic dungeon, go for it. But then, like, every season, just take an area that wasn't utilized very well in the world and say, okay, well, let's make a dungeon out of this. I feel like that would speed up so much of the dungeon making process.
It would, and I feel like that's not something that anybody I know is like, oh, I don't like when they do that. That's lazy. Like, everybody's like, oh, I like when they do that. It's cool. Like, the one that I use as example with Siege of Borealis. It's like, oh, it's Borealis, but it's like totally like different shit is happening here. It's like really exciting. Or like Battle of Dazar Allure, the whole raid was just Dazar Allure. It was sick. It was so cool. Like, so I don't think anybody has a problem doing that. So keep doing it. It's fun.
Well, let's see what Technique has to say.
Oh God, what does Technique have to say?
That's what I said. I think these places already exist. I think of course it helps with development. I don't have the normal beef with it being like, oh, reuse content, because it's like, dude, I didn't do this shit in the first place. I did 3 quests here and I was out, whatever. So why not like reuse it and make us use? I think it's great.
Well, and even the Waterworks one, there are some interiors that I don't think we've seen, but for the most part, like it's heavily using the area. But they even change like not the time of day, but there's a feeling of everything's on fire versus when it's not. It's like all blue versus all red, and Siege of Borealis was the same way when you're like under like this idea of war, everything's just exploding and it just feels kind of
bronzy.
It doesn't even feel like Borealis. Like you're in like the part of Borealis, but there's all these people fighting and that's not what you expect. You usually see the brontosaurs, right? So So yeah, I think this is something that Blizzard, this is your key to getting a dungeon, maybe even 2 out every patch, and that could be a huge game changer for the M+ scene, which I think all of us would agree is a lot of where our time is spent and what would keep us coming back. So just wanted to bring that up because it was something I realized last night.
Yeah, I think it's the one thing WoW actually, like for me, I wish they did better, is use more of the stuff they've already made. Yeah. Like more of their assets within it. Like that's what I talk about housing all the time with Technique. I'm like, yeah, I want to go back to Firelands to get special fire ashwood. Because like there's so much of the game people play that like you have this giant world and we don't use it. We're just like in this one little zone.
I've been saying over and over, we're overdue for another Cataclysm like expansion where it's like let's revisit some shit like on a big scale.
And this is also where the Cavern of Times, I think, could be a huge.
I love Cavern of Times dungeons. They're fantastic.
We haven't seen any of them in a long. Like they did.
Well, the Chromie one I think was technically in that genre.
Yeah. I think the time travel thing is a little overdone right now.
No, but I love
like have an actual event like you said with Cataclysm.
But technically, you were just saying that you only like lore from Warcraft 3. It's like there's tons of cool stuff that we could turn into a dungeon.
that doesn't mean I don't disagree with that. I'm just saying there should be a lore driven reason to go back, not just like Chromie's like, oh, we gotta go back in time.
No, but like there's some great examples of that. Calling of Stratholme and the one where we saved Thrall from the Hillsbrad Foothills or whatever.
Yeah, what the hell is that place called? I was just there.
But like that, I love that dungeon. Now, granted, I don't want more Black Morass because like that was horrifically bad, but that was because it was a just wave after wave dungeon.
Yeah. I like dungeons that have a strong story element to them, and so I think it's super easy to do that. It's like, oh, we have to go work on this event because the time guys are meddling with it. I mean, that's just me.
Didn't you say you hated the Dawn of Infinites the most out of all the new?
No, out of all the Mega Dungeons, but I still think it's great. I don't dislike that one.
Just
by
the bar's really high.
Yeah, the bar's high for Mega Dungeons. Yeah, no, I love the Chromie dungeon. It's probably one of my favorites in Dragonflight.
Okay.
I think.
All right. Well, we have 3 dungeons returning. Of course, the other 4 from War Within are also coming back, but I'm not going to worry about those because I don't think any of the changes made to them right now would be impactful for us to understand how they're impacting us because we really didn't have a challenge in those dungeons.
Yeah.
So I wanted to take probably the majority of the rest of our time talking about the 3 dungeons coming back and the changes they've made to them because it was a little surprising to see what I saw. Now, I haven't seen these in a couple days, so forgive me. I'm refreshing my memory as we go. But they have made changes to every dungeon. And it starts with things like the trash before the Tossle Tonks. It looks like they've changed, you know how you could use the barrages to kill everything really quickly? Technique, you should know this better than anyone, right? It looks like they've changed some of that. And no longer knocks back, for example, stuff like that. But they've also severely changed the Tossle Tonks encounter. So in the encounter originally, you would break the platinum plating on the big guy. You know,
this
the
is the first boss, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
You break the platinum plating, and then while that was happening, while the tank was doing that, you'd burn the tank as quickly as possible. Well, now it looks like they have to die together, and he will gain platinum platings back. Like over time, it looks like. I'm trying to see where it says it. Like he gets it back.
Go back up.
Well, I know that it says
it says Platinum Pummeler puts up armor plating periodically. It's the second bullet after Electrical Storm.
Oh,
yeah,
right there. So it doesn't have a time frame. Okay. Oh, I see. Whenever he hits 100 energies, when you'll do it. Okay. So, you know, this boss could be very chaotic if people didn't know how to do with flame vents. Now, granted, it does look like they did make some changes to flame vents. I don't know exactly how it'll look, and we'll hopefully see that in the testing coming soon.
Yeah.
But like even a dungeon that I think some of us would say was in pretty decent shape, they're making some drastic changes.
We fucking had this dungeon. Why are they making such drastic changes?
Wasn't that what you'd want if you were
I think it's because we just fucking did this dungeon.
That's cool. It just seems like, I don't know. It's just, this whole thing is just a weird choice. But I really don't like this fight. It was
really don't like
chaotic and annoying. Yeah, no, I don't like the bosses. I like the dungeon. I think the dungeon's cool. But the last boss is also fucking chaotic.
How many times have we had to wait for some donkey who can't get through the maze?
I like trying to get through the maze in the first phase like as fast as possible, and I
It's a race
will
for
like
you.
get the key just to do it. Like I like RP shit and keys. I know I'm like ridiculous for that, but I really do.
Yeah, they can make all the changes they want. Like, I don't really care for the dungeon. If it's a horrendous dungeon, we have enough people that we can hopefully not all have the same key and do something else. But
well, this is only the first pass too.
Yeah, well, that's the thing for me. Like, I don't mind talking about it, but it is like a first pass. We've had so many times where we look at stuff, we're like, this is going to be atrocious, and we're like doing 11s or 12s in it or whatever. So
I really,
do you know what I mean? Though, like, we kind of always
no, you're right. It depends on how cushy the timer is. It's 100%.
Like we always kind of seemed like it looks like it's going to be bad. I think for where we all play, nothing's actually that bad. It's the people that are going like, you know, in the 17 or whatever the top keys are now, where it's the like, pugs, yeah, it makes a huge difference.
Well, not that, but the pugs, and remember at the start of this season, everyone in the 8s that were like, this is way too hard. Those people will also be impacted, I think.
Yeah, but I'm like, I guess for me, like, I don't know. I'll deal with it when I see it. It could totally, all this PTR stuff could change too by the time it gets live. So
this one I also want to call out from the Mechanist Garden because this was a chaotic fight the longer it went on. And I remember I used to get caught out by this. So this is Discombobulator. What it would be is like there'd be a blue swirl that would just populate in the middle of the fight while all those saws and everything are flying around. And I'd constantly get hit by it. Now, granted, if they have the new circle mechanic, hopefully it'll be very much easier to see. But you can see that they've travel time reduced to point at half a second from 2.5 seconds and increase the yardage. So that scares the hell out of me of what that's going to feel like and look like. Unless I guess maybe there's a cast time to it that's outside of the travel time, that'd be fine. But yeah, these are changes that are clearly moving the dungeon in a point where it's saying this is going to be harder. Would you agree?
Well, I think that hopefully it's balancing because we're going to have like the affixes that are going to give us, you know, benefits, right? They're going to give us positives.
Well, they've had those affixes in
and we'll have
these dungeons.
Oh, that's true. I'm just hoping they're balancing it, not just like making it harder arbitrarily. Like,
I think like the quick comment that I read somewhere else was like, okay, so rather than like having us interrupt and use our skills, you're just going to make us take all the damage and heal through it. And so those ability change that you just pointed out, go back down if you will. To the, you know, it looks, I mean, dude, if you've got a radius increase to 8 yards and a travel time reduced to half a second, it's almost like, and the self-trimming hedge, like no line of sight, same thing with flame cannon, where you may have been able to dodge it before, or line of sight it before. You're just going to get hit now. And the same thing with like the discombobulator, like more people are going to get hit. So rather than being like, okay, well, you really have to dodge this and not get hit or you'll die, it's going to be more like, well, just heal through it and use a defensive.
Well, the hidden flame cannon and the self-trimming hedge,
kind of boring.
I didn't even, and again, we did 10s and 15s, the equivalent of, you know, the portal-esque level.
Oh, okay. Oh, sorry, yeah.
What I'm just saying is, like in BFA, I like did 15s, and in when it came out twice again, we did it in 20s.
Yeah.
I don't even think that the line of sight thing was a thing that I thought about with, at least with the not flame cannon, but the trimming hedge thing. This just sounds like something maybe those really high end, you know, the 30 level key doers were doing to make the fight easier, and Blizzard just said, well, we don't want you doing that, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's okay. But like this,
yeah, I think it's
and this maybe because look, there's a 2-second cast to the discombobulator, so you're gonna know it's coming. You just have like half a second to move out of the way. I don't know if that means that you will see it beforehand, and of course I would assume you would, but that may not be the case. But even then, it's still clearly making it harder, even if it is still something you can manage. And so, you know, I was just surprised to see that they are trying to make these dungeons more hard. And again, this whole Tussle Tonks fight is definitely an indication that, like, hey, we're just redoing the whole fight. Like, we just want to make this.
I mean, that's good.
Go back down a little bit more where it says new right there.
Yeah.
Platinum pummels the tank and does a shit ton of damage to everyone around him.
Yeah.
launches a mine at other players, 25, and then ground pound slams the ground, inflicting all damage, all people.
Yeah.
So just unavoidable AoE damage from ground pound.
It looks like they tried to, and I'm quickly reading this. It looks like they tried to get the flame vents damage removed and switched it to this ground pound thing. And I think what that essentially is saying is like, once you got the 3 plates off the pummeler guy, it was nothing. There was no fight left.
Yeah, there's nothing.
Right? So it sounds like what they're trying to do is, okay, well, let's not make it so that you focus on the tank. Let's make it so that there's a council fight. And let's make it so that the pummeler does something. For all we know, because flame vents is gone, or flame jets, whatever, is gone, that may not be a big deal. It does look like if you're in front of it, it still deals damage, but the AoE around it is still there, or not there. So maybe this is not a big deal, and it's not harder, maybe even easier, because the flame jets sucked as a healer.
The vent jets were stupid. Like and I remember like dodging them was
it wasn't
really
clear where they were.
Right. It was super like, where the fuck am I supposed to be and not be?
Yeah.
So I don't necessarily hate that, but I do hate spells like ground pound where it's just 4 seconds of everybody use something and heal the fuck out of it. You know?
I do feel like a lot of healers are designed around that existing though. It's like that's okay. Here's where you use your cooldown.
Or here's where you go like, everyone get ready, and it's the dance of the fight.
Because healers are kind of designed around that, and then fights are reflective of what healers need to be doing in their rotation.
450 physical damage to all players every half second for 4 seconds. That's a fuck ton of damage in 4 seconds.
That's 4 million damage, which if you're doing it on so when we were on the keys, Shawnee, we were like 9 million health, 10 million health.
Something like that.
So over the course of 4 seconds, this is going to do, on a 10-ish key, will probably do upwards of 10 million damage with no reduction, of course, which you can reduce just through armor alone, because it's physical. So it will do less damage than it looks like, but it is still a possibility that on a 12 plus key, that is a one-shottable.
It'll be defensive or one shot. Like a lot of things are
if the incoming damage also causes knockback during healing and stuff.
Well, and they're like, for example, the Maxima Thrust might be still going on during that, right? So you might be dodging that while the AoE is going, which is obviously a problem. But I also think that's what makes a good fight, is where it's like, okay, chaos is happening while I'm supposed to be doing something. But I would also say that I prefer the ground pound where it's X amount over 4 seconds than what we were dealing with in Stonevault last night, where the guy slams down, everyone loses like 80% of the health immediately. But you also had other things going on, and of course those kill you because you can't react within half a second of who do I need to interrupt when I've...
That wasn't a boss fight, that was us pulling 3 packs.
No, I know. But what I'm saying is I prefer the idea of like the mounting into, as opposed to, the nuke goes off, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I like a predictable like place to use my cooldowns. Like
what I'd say is I like watching it where I can say, okay, Scrap's gonna die here and I know it, and I just slowly watch it happen as opposed to just one big...
I would say, and then me as a DPS knows, oh god, I'm gonna die here, and so yell at you, Like, I like to know what to expect, so...
Alright, let's move on to the next dungeon. So, Theater of Pain changes.
I love Theater of Pain.
So they have reworked the first boss entirely, it looks like, okay? I'm not going to get into the trash too much. It does look like some nerfs to some damage and buffs to some damage. I'm curious if which one of the mobs was the one in the Lich boss where it was like the big maybe it's the Shackled Souls, the big bone
tornado guy?
Yeah, the one that we would like always avoid pulling.
Yeah.
But anyways, I'm not so much worried about the trash except for the dueling bosses, mini bosses. Colossus Smash is like a half a second to react, and you can't outrange it, which, I mean, you shouldn't be able to anyways. And then, of course, like, splash damage is increased to 45% from 30%. Do you remember this effect for those who played Melee? Where if you were standing, like, just a little to the left of the tank, you'd always get hit by this?
It's a frontal.
Oh, wait, no, this always hit the 2 people anyways. Okay, so never mind, it hit them no matter what. So yeah, like, this is going to hurt more for the Melee. I assume Melee because they're 2 closest. Stuff like that.
Do you think that like with these changes in timers, they're just going to put them into add-ons anyway? So they're going to be like, like you're still going to see the bar counting down and stuff where it's like, this is supposed to...
Yes, they will. But Shawnee, you say that, and again, in the space where we're playing, huh?
I mean, I don't mind. I was just like a question. I'm like, I still feel like a lot of these changes will like be somewhat trivialized by add-ons.
Yeah, but this is one of those things, and you guys can tell me if you have this in your add-ons. But like, there's weak auras / platers that will show you the cooldown of the mob's ability, and I don't think a lot of people, even if they have them installed, pay attention to those things, right?
Yeah.
They, the DBM saying, 3, 2, 1. Yes, of course, because you hear it and you go, okay, I need to act. But seeing when it's going to come up so that you could move out of melee or whatever it might be that you want to do, I don't think a lot of people do, which I think is good, because if you're paying attention, then yes, you can, and makes you the better player as a result. But it's surprising how few people do, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, that's fair.
All right, first boss, I'm just going to read this. The first boss has gotten a pretty large rework. The difficulty of the boss was heavily front-loaded in Shadowlands. As you took out each boss, the fight would get easier. This rework seems to change it so that the remaining bosses get empowered when one dies via the new Final Will mechanic. So, Final Will, the fighter absorbs the remaining contenders, increasing their damage done by 10%, and granting them additional energy, 35 energy, after using their powerful abilities. So essentially, they start doing their ults more often. So this spell makes it so that once you kill one, the others will use their ultimates about 35% faster. When you kill two, the last one will do 75% faster. And below are the new ultimate abilities. So Noxious Spores, ultimate ability now deals AoE damage to all players over 6 seconds and summons zones of spores on the ground. Searing Death is Sathel's ultimate ability. That's not you, Siri. Sathel's ultimate ability that now deals AoE damage to all players over 12 seconds. So again, AoE. And then Mighty Smash is an ultimate ability that does a big AoE hit to all players and slows movement speed. So imagine that big hit, 70% faster, happening every 30 seconds or whatever, might be a problem. So the strategy might revolve around killing bosses quickly rather than keeping them alive, but your healer will have to be ready with the large amount of AoE healing. I think it might be the inverse. You want to keep them all alive and kill them, together. Because they don't, in that boss, they don't heal up when one dies, right?
No. You would kill, like, there would be a kill order, and it would shift every now and then. People would say, "Oh, you kill this one first now, or we kill that one first for whatever week it was," sort of thing.
But they say this is because all the bosses got some damage amps, both to the tank and to their bolt casts. Don't forget about those bosses' special abilities at 50% health as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of kicking in that
Enrage
boss.
can no longer be trivialized by having the soothe effect, so you can't de-enrage her.
Okay, that's good, because I don't like doing that anyway.
But also, damage increased, no longer de-enrageable. And then also, this is a new, decaying breath in the enemy in front of the caster, dealing, 5 million damage. So you get hit by that frontal, you're dead. Gore Chop, a bit of a buff to him. He loses less health, or the Oozlings lose less health over time. I don't think they're really a huge deal. And then, of course, the last boss. When is the last boss? This boss is a little rough for players who didn't understand how the Hands of the Souls mechanic worked back in the day.
No, it's not the last boss. That's the spellcasting
boss.
Yeah.
This is the Lich boss.
The really trivial one, yeah.
Yeah. No, this wasn't trivial.
It used to be, yeah. It used to be cheese. For me, who didn't have to do anything. Yeah.
No, the problem
it was a healer boss, dude.
Well, the problem with the Lich was there was also something you had to dispel, and if you didn't have the right to spell, it sucked. I can't remember which one it was, but anyways, the souls will run around rapidly and randomly. Now they don't. They just walk to the boss. I think that's a good change. Take out the confusion.
Oh yeah, your soul would run around. That was so annoying.
Because you like every time you chase it, it would just change direction.
Yeah.
Shawnee, now you got upset with me when I posted this saying that Scrap loves Theater of Pain, and I forgot that you do too. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. I'm excited, dude. I just want to go to Theater of Pain. I'm open to them.
Okay.
I won't not a lot. I'm like, honestly, like, I need to see them, decide if they're like good or bad. It's hard. Like, just read. It's like me reading, like, yeah, we're gonna put out this new car and change all these things in it, and I'm like, how's it gonna drive when I sit in it?
Like, I kind of like the idea of everything switching more. Like, so far, these two fights have, both dungeon changes have been changed to more council fights instead of having these boss fights where you've got multiple bosses. And the strat is like, well, just nuke the shit out of one, and then we don't have to deal with the second one,
Or it becomes significantly easier.
Right.
Yeah.
Because
and
if
it's
you
just
remember,
more of a DPS check than an actual, strategy.
If you remember Theater of Pain, the hardcore strategy would be you make that first pull and pull it into the boss and just go absolute
and hero,
ape shit. And the idea is like just survive it and it's good because that first pull is no slouch either. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was gonna ask, does this, both the changes to Mechagon and the changes here, the first boss, is it good or bad that the first boss might be the pug killer of a group?
I like it in a way. I'd rather be the first one than the last one, and then I'd rather my key die in 10 minutes instead of 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, same.
And I think I've said this before, like nothing sends me to the tilt than someone who leaves the key with one bad pull at the end. It's like, look, I get it. You didn't get the time, but just to finish it, especially now for the crests, like, you absolute asshole. So
we were talking about earlier this week. I was asking because I wasn't playing a ton the past couple of weeks. So I was like, with the crest changes, do you feel like people are staying in pugs more? And you said,
yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Which is awesome because
as long as it's not horrendous.
Untimed 12, like you almost got it, and you're on the last boss anyway. It's like, dude, that's a lot of crests to just walk away from. It's like what, 12 or 15?
Well, and think about it. Right now, the people who are doing the 12s and 13s don't even most of us in our group don't need crests, but they're still saying, "Well, I'm not going to run." It's going to be so much more important though at the start of a season.
No, yeah, think about like our level, our World First 16 Neltheris, we're actually going to get something good out of it this time. When we do our World First
five at a time.
5 at a time was the consistent joke like this entire season. Is like I'll get there 5 at a time because we were whiffing keys that were harder above our eye level and stuff, right? But now it's like it's awesome. It's like hugely beneficial to go into a 10 and just say like, dude, we're gonna slog through it, man. Like, not only are we getting that vault slot, we're getting a fuck ton of crests, man.
I wouldn't say fuck ton, but I get what you're saying.
Well, compared to what we got,
it's a lot, yeah.
Okay. So far, Mechagon and Theater, you guys aren't too upset about. Nothing that's concerning you.
I won't be concerned, upset until I actually do it, and then I'll be
like you're looking at. You're looking at your fortune teller, and it's telling you these are the changes. You're not worried about your fortune?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I mean, what I'll say, Frank, is that I think they did a really nice job this season, to give them some credit, with rebalancing dungeons when things were not right. Like Necrotic Wake at the beginning was horseshit. Like there was a ton of like that chain boss, which is already, or hook boss, which is already fucking hard.
Yeah,
like
third one
had an impassable,
I feel like
impassable
that's
heal
now
check.
well, not the easiest. The last boss is the easiest, but I feel like that's now the second easiest boss.
It's a lot better for sure. But yeah,
DPS
so that they
caught up.
Throughout the season, they're still adjusting. I mean, like a month ago, they readjusted some things on some dungeons. So I'm confident that if they make changes that are totally off base, they're not going to persist the entire season.
All right. Now, Motherlode has been changed too. I am going to quickly parse through because when I started reading this, I was like, I can't even remember half of the stuff.
I don't really remember a lot of Motherlode, so
I do remember that the second and the third boss were absolutely problematic in pugs because they were usually 1, healing checks, but 2, people wouldn't focus targets or they wouldn't get out of the way of things. But look at all these changes to the trash. So lots of changes to trash in this one.
Yeah.
Shawnee, you had something?
I was gonna say, what the third boss was that the one? What was the second boss?
Rixa Flux Flame, where she would.
Yeah, I don't names.
Oh yeah,
nothing
the
to me. What did they do?
She had the Azurite that she would throw it like literally everywhere.
Oh yeah.
She'd like.
Is that the one?
Jetpack around.
Where you're on the island?
Yeah.
Like a small island?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're in a small circle, yeah.
Yeah, a circle type thing. There's fire on the outside too, so you can't even like. Yeah.
Maybe, yeah, I can't remember that part, but yeah, you were on an island and she was essentially filling up the entire island with Azurite.
Yeah, you had to like kind of bait it. You all had to try to bait it to one side.
Yeah, and then somebody would clear it up.
So, okay, so let's read the bosses real quick. So Coin Operated Crowd Pummeler, I thought was a really great thematic boss, right?
That's the soccer boss?
This was the one where...
you
had to kick. Yeah, the soccer boss.
Yeah.
So one of the major changes is that Coin Magnet now appears to be energy-based on a timer rather than just whenever gold is nearby. That's nice. This is a great change, as originally in BFA, you would eventually run out of space and be forced to pick up gold. In addition, kicking a football into the boss removes some stacks too, so that's nice. With the increase in stacks, I wouldn't be surprised to see more footballs as well. So Coin Magnet now is at 100 energy instead of being close. Pay to win increases damage by 15%, was 10 last 60 seconds. However, in the past it was unlimited, and it sounds like you can remove it with the soccer ball. Blazing Azurite now increases by 25% per stack, was 50, but stacks 6 times, was 5. And now removes stacks of pay to win. And then, of course, there's some AoE damage reduction by 90%, but can no longer be dispelled, so it's nerfed, but can't be removed. Static Pulse lasts for 8 instead of 6, so I think that's the AoE. AoE. And knocks back people as well. And then Throw Coins now deal damage to players within the impact zone as opposed to just hitting the player. I think is what it did in the past. Azeroth was the second boss. This was the boss where I just saw things go crazy. So Azeroth was a weird boss in battle for Azeroth, as later in the expansion you didn't even have to bother CCing the ads as long as you use stops in their channel.
This big rock guy.
Which as a prop paladin was great because you had no, you didn't have Divine Toll then, but you had your shield, which was helpful. Now ads that are empowered will be healed first, making them more deadly, and you'll have to greater incentive to focus them down as you will be pulsing AoE damage. So again, trying to remove the trivialization of a boss, I think that's good. Wait, so trivial Tectonic Smash now knocks up was knocks down. I don't know what that differentiation is. Resonating Quake now causes instant damage in addition to causing all Earth Ragers to cast Resonating Quake. Resonating Quake was damage is increased by 100% and deals 1 damage every 1 second for 30 seconds, so a lot more deadly. Sorry, Sean.
That knockdown thing, Frank, was just basically you would get hit and fall on the ground.
Oh, fall over, yeah.
It was like you were like stunned or whatever, basically.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, as if I get knocked up as like a mage, for example, I can use my Icy Flows to keep casting. Okay, yeah. That's not a bad change. Azurite Aftershock is a new spell. Impact from Resonating Quake triggers the Azurite energy from within, causing an eruption of Azurite energy, increasing damage or inflicting damage to all players, plus a dot. So it's just like more AoE healing. And then, of course, some damage reduction on... I think this is what they would cast, what the ads would cast. Azurite Infusion now heals affected targets 25% per 4 seconds, and now causes the pulsing Azurite when empowered. Rixa... This is the island boss that we were just talking about. Azurite Catalyst damage increased by 7% and ticks once every 1 second, was 2 seconds. More healing problems. Chemical Burn now affects 3 players, was 2. More healer problems. And Propellant Blast damage reduced by 50%, but now ticks every 1/10 of a second, was 1 second.
A huge...
Now that's the one where I think she pushes you away. Yeah, so you got to get like out of the way immediately, which... Okay. Mogul Rezdank, which I think is the last boss because that name doesn't sound familiar, but I guess so.
It is because after you do the boss on the island, that's when you go up the like long walkway that you would like death skip.
Buster Shot. I do remember this being a problem in really high keys where like because I think he just chooses someone randomly, so they nerf that. Gatling Gun increased by 80% and it can no longer be line of sighted. I think that makes sense.
Stand behind a pillar.
Yeah. I think that makes sense, and that is that should be a one-shot mechanic because it's like pretty easy to see. And now he has a jet stream, which allows him to jump to a location of a player. And a Boomba drone launches a salvo of micro missiles, inflicting... I feel like they already did that. Didn't the mobs already...
It did have some kind of thing, but I don't think it was that bad.
Okay. Well, that changes the Motherlode. Again, I think Shawnee has said this already twice, and we'll say it a third time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not too scared about this. I mean, like the second and third boss still concern me, but maybe overall there's some things that we didn't have back then that we have now that will make it easier. Technique, you've been pretty quiet throughout all this. What are your thoughts?
I kind of like what Shawnee was saying, man. I'm not super worried about it. I probably won't be playing it. But also on, most of the changes, I feel like they're going in the right direction for some of it. Like the one on this fight, for example, on Motherlode, I noticed the biggest change I thought that was meaningful is one of the abilities couldn't be dispelled anymore, and it just has to be healed through. And I think that's going to help to prevent us from being like, oh, well, we have to have a shaman on this fight.
Yeah, and that's good stuff.
Or a mass dispel. I hated seeing where. But then why
like do any enrage in the first place?
Well, there you go. That's a conundrum, right? I think that as far as like balance is concerned, it'll make it better. And I do like that throughout these, they've seemed to lean away from, the council fights that just force you to kill one dude. The simple strat of just, bloodlust and
so much
throw everything you got at one dude. Yeah. So in general, I like the direction of the change. I don't care about every little number or reduction in time or any of that, but I do like seeing the direction they're going.
Motherlode, on paper, it looks like it's a lot of changes, but this is pretty par for the course with BFA dungeons they've brought back. Like Siege had a lot of revamping.
Taldazar didn't.
Taldazar had a good amount, yeah. I don't remember the specifics, but Taldazar definitely had some reworking. I'll have to look into that. Maybe my foot's in my mouth, but Siege definitely had a lot. That was the most recent one.
Well, but even then,
they took out the whole
have
RP
that much.
section.
It was just they fixed the last boss.
Yeah.
And that was the only thing that was like so egregious they had to do.
Freehold, they took out the whole like RP section.
Well, yeah, they took out the randomization because I mean that's what people wanted. They didn't want to have like a bad week.
I just think BFA, they're just redesigning things to fit in with how classes are designed, 4 or 5 years later, which is fine.
I think there's a lot to be said though that there's probably a ton more in the trash that for this dungeon at least that are going to make things like I remember Phantom Knives being a huge deal and you had to interrupt it or stun it or whatever. I think that's where it is. I'm not going to read through all of it because even if I did, I'm sure most of it we will remember, but once we get into it we will. Going back to the what was it? Right here. So we'll see Cinderbrew dungeons, or sorry, not Cinderbrew, War Within dungeons next week, starting Tuesday. And then we'll have a week of the Legacy dungeons. So 2 weeks from now, hopefully Shawnee, we can get on the PTR since no one else wants to play. And test these out and see how bad they really are. But yeah, I mean, all in all, I don't like Theater of Pain, but I do think the changes were good there.
Oh, you like Theater of Pain.
No, I don't. 5 bosses.
Scrap. What night do we scrap? What night? We're gonna have to set a night aside. Like we'll message each other and do the ultimate reindeer game.
Yeah.
And like you and I will go get sent in the pit and then just not fight each other also.
The whole time.
It just wipes the key. No, we'll just sit there and we'll be.
It pulls you back up and gives you both the negative if you take too long on it.
Well, we'll just take it. Yeah,
I don't know. I need to set a date. You and I are going to PvP every time. PvP Trinket is always on in Theater of Pain.
Yeah.
Just in case.
I don't know how. Like I know people would be like, "Oh, I'm going to sit down back to you," but like. I couldn't do that. I have respect for myself.
Definitely not in a pug. In a pug, it's hilarious because they'll be like, "Oh, like I'm higher on DPS, I get to kill you." And when you just like start killing them, they like get so flustered.
That's when I played Rogue all the time, and I was sub, and I remember you
just unlock them.
Yes, and they get so mad. Anyway,
you don't need a lot of CC in that particular boss fight, so why not save it for the PvP part?
Well, you can't even use it anyway, so might as well use it on your friend.
All right.
Here's to you.
All right, let's go through some quick rapid fire news. First off, apparently they're going to upgrade it so that you can get Gilded Crests from delves. Now there will be a cap, I think, of 18 of them. And you have to do tier 11 delves. Good or bad change?
Great I like change. The white font color is going to be there. That's cool.
I think it's good. It gives people are like, what's the point of delves? Now you could be like, well, if you do enjoy delves, here's a reason to do some.
According, there was some, I didn't understand it, so maybe someone in the comments will explain it to me, but apparently this is kind of happening right now. It doesn't require season 2 to get done, but I guess maybe they're making it official. I don't know, but yeah, I mean, 18 is really not that much. It like allows you to kind of do 1.5 upgrades a week.
No, but think like the first week when it's kind of hard. I mean, it won't be for us because we're already geared, I don't think. But for people who are kind of like maybe switching alts and stuff, and it's like they might struggle to get into a 10 the first week or two because there's no IO on the board. That and like, being able to like do the delve just on your own. Like, you don't need to get into a pug to do it. You don't need to have the key. Like, you could just do an 11 delve. You just on demand get 18 crests. Like, that could really be helpful.
You have to do it 3 times. You have to do 3 of them. But yes,
but that you can do it entirely by yourself, and you don't have to rely on the luck of getting in a pug or or having
you can like if I'm like waiting on dinner or something, I can like start one.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Or it's like Monday night, and everyone's already started a key, and you're like, well, I need crests. I need to get my cap for the week. You could go do this too.
Yeah.
I think it's always good to put things you actually need in more places, because then it's like it makes the things you put time and effort in to worth having built. Like, I think there should be more ways to get like the Gilded Crest in general. Like, you should get, like, if you do the world boss, you should get some or whatever, right? Like,
Gilded,
I don't know.
The world boss Gilded?
If the world boss was hard, sure.
You can only kill the world boss once anyway, and like do it. Like, I just don't see why not. Like, if people don't want to do it, they won't do it. But if there's people that want to, like, what's it gonna hurt? Like, you have a cap anyway.
I don't know. I worried also maybe force people to feel like they have to do it, but the world boss isn't that tedious, so I don't see it.
It would still be faster to do mythics, though.
Yeah, no, like, hold on. Gilded Crests are like the highest reward you can get.
Yeah.
Do not put that on a fucking world boss.
Sure, I would. You can only kill it once a week.
Well, yeah, to Shari's point, it's a weekly, and if you gave, well, let's say it gave 6, like one of these chests did, right?
Yeah.
That's only like not even 10% of your weekly cap. So
still, I mean,
the people who are farming the world boss for Gildeds don't have any gear to upgrade with Gildeds anyway.
Well, that's fair, but it feels like
not necessarily
handing
true
out
if you add the
Gildeds.
Gilded to them.
I mean, obviously, like 10 is not a huge barrier, but I don't want them to be like, oh, you can just get Gildeds just by doing stuff. It's like an 11 delve is still not easy. Like, it's still a skill check. It's still a gear check.
Okay.
Like,
I want to get out of here under 2 hours, so we're gonna keep moving.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen.
But it sounds like for the most part, you all agree it's not.
Yeah,
a big
it's
deal.
yeah, I like that. Yeah, it's difficult content, and it's gives you difficult reward.
Trinkets from the raid, Scrap. They really leaned into a lot of the.
I like the trinkets.
All of them look like in one way or another fun. Like, so the house of cards where you can shuffle the deck and kind of switch whatever mastery you have. There's a bottle service one for healers where you like run around or you move really quickly.
How you just skated right on by.
I'm gonna come back to it. I thought of the bottle service. So become a pinnacle of Galagio's service excellence and dole out Kaja Cola Mega Light to injured allies over 4 seconds, healing them X amount and increasing speed by 1400. So you're just like doling out a whole bunch of bottles. Okay, technique. Here are your tank trinkets. Okay.
I'm not even playing.
I'm like, what are you doing?
Pitbot Gyarados to assist you for 5 seconds, coating nearby enemies with rancid motor oil.
For additional threat, you need that. You keep getting pulled off of.
I think my denier things in season 2 are going to go to trinkets because as of right now for Ret Pally, the 2 best trinkets seem like they are raid trinkets.
Yeah.
That's typical, though. I mean, that's how it is for me this season.
But I do, God, to really stress what a good idea this renowned track and the dinars are. We were talking, since technique might not come back for the next season, does that mean I have to tank again? Which is fine.
Yeah, you're tanking again.
But we can't do E-team while me and Lithian are tanking, right?
So we're only do raid for a month.
No, but even then, like it's a huge source of Valor and Crests to start.
Well, you're gonna play Ret Pally and E-team.
No, ugh.
Double
my thought was I'd play my healer, Sid, and then I would tank on as Brew.
I mean, as good as Frank is, I feel bad beating him on Ret all the time.
Oh yeah,
these are actually fun and useful trinkets.
He just finished reading them.
Yeah, no, they're
it's more
it's really
like
hard. The font is really kind of screwy on my
yeah, of course, but
little itty bitty version of your screen, but yeah, I'm glad to see trinkets that aren't just like more stats.
Yeah. Same.
Yeah, and not that, but like even some of the shield ones
happens
have
every
like fun little things that happen.
Yeah.
And they're thematic, which is important to me.
Yeah. Yeah,
it's only a million damage
Scrap. Like, this is where I think the theme should come in, right?
Yeah, I wish it was visually represented in tier sets.
We're not talking about that.
No,
we're not. We're doing it. Quick one.
I think more items, not just trinkets, should have a bit, cool shit going on.
I'll say I am the most excited for this patch that I've been in a long time for a patch within an expansion.
Honestly, me too. I love goblins.
I think I love everything. Yeah, I love the theme. I love the drive system. I love some of the like transmog. Like it's such an untapped.
Are you worried about the high you're going to come off of when season 3 comes out and it's the ethereals or whatever?
Yeah, you know what? Honestly, I am a little, I'd say I'm a little apprehensive about season 3, but I'll see it when it gets here. Maybe I'll be like, oh man, I was wrong. But I don't know. I just feel like I know there's going to be people like, oh, you mess with goblins a lot, but like, I don't feel like we have to this degree and level.
Yeah.
And I love every interaction I have with them. So like, I'm really looking forward to this. Like, I'm hyped to do the raid.
There's some fun little weapons like this fist weapon that has cleave built into it, which is kind of fun. But this weapon right here, Best in Slots, which by the way, great name, of course.
Yeah.
I don't understand what is going on here. So you've got, a random secondary stat that's equipped to chance to grant you. But if you use it, cheat to immediately gain 4,000 of said stat, of your highest secondary stat, I should say.
That's if you're in combat.
Yeah, I know, but if you use it while out of... Okay, now it makes sense. If you use it while out of combat, you configure it to a spellcasting version instead. Okay. I thought that when you used it, once you left combat, it would just turn into an intellect mace. I was like, wait, what? You had to... So, never mind, that makes complete sense. Okay, well, that's actually not that bad, considering you can have...
It's like just one weapon for both your specs.
As a holy paladin, you could use this as like a healing weapon. That's not bad. Okay. Sorry, I wasn't fully understanding that, but thank you for clarifying. Okay. Other news, Plunderstorm coming back Tuesday. You ready?
So excited.
It looks like they'll have a new system of, I guess, shopping. Like it'll be you earn plunder in the game, and then you like go into the...
I like it's not a renown track because it's like I'm gonna earn everything I want, and then we're still gonna probably want to play games. Then I'll get the stuff I don't really want. Whereas it felt like with the renown track, the thing we really wanted was at the very end, and then it was like, okay, stop playing now.
By design.
You know? Yeah.
But we also had a lot of fun grinding through that.
You can earn the old stuff.
We were literally like, again, Scrap, we were way too competitive because we were racing to get the renown.
And we were so bad at it.
we were so toxic. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, no, this is fun. I'm excited to be a bush again. Whoa.
Thanks, Adblock. Everybody. Jesus. Yeah, I'm really excited. And Shani, we hopefully will be able to do more than duos, but if not, don't be upset. You can watch us on stream.
Yeah, you can watch us, Shani.
I'm literally like, I don't want to talk about this because it makes me insanely... You guys both made me so mad last week that I thought of deleting both of you from the world or something.
Wait, last week, why did we make you mad? What did we do?
So do you want to talk about this right quick? Because like,
no. We will talk about it. We'll record it later, and maybe I'll add it back in. But
my feelings were hurt. Like I was like, I hate these people. Yeah, Plunderstorm related, and I was like legitimately mad at the two of you. I was like, well then.
I don't remember the incident.
Black eyes.
Let's not get into this.
I don't remember the incident, but fair, probably.
100% fair, but it's all right. You know, I'm a goldfish now, so whatever.
Scrap, was it when you said that we're not going to play with Shani because he's really bad at Plunderstorm?
No,
I mean we're also bad at Plunderstorm, so I don't know why he'd be mad at that.
No.
God, I'm so looking forward to playing it. It's such good.
I love
it. Watch us on Twitch, please. It's such donkey.
Don't be
donkey
mad.
Tree.
We're terrible. We're so bad.
He's not with us anymore.
I'm here. Just my camera's messed up.
All right. Well, we'll worry about that in a second. Okay. Last piece of news. Season of Discovery is adding new dungeons. Is this like, okay, so you played hardcore, you played classic, new dungeons are now being added to this experience, and that's not enough to, like, I don't understand why hardcore, other than like the hype of the idea of dying, which of course is fun, I'm not taking that away, but like, you know, the OnlyFans is going absolutely mental right now. But like, why is Season of Discovery, which is adding new content to Classic? This sounds like everything anyone could ever possibly want out of the technique, out of the experience. Out of the experience, and yet not on anyone's radar.
Well, Season of Discovery feels to me like retail light, and it's kind of like, well, I'd rather just be playing retail. I mean, I didn't play a lot of Season of Discovery. What is this camera? But I like hardcore because I like classic WoW, and I also like hardcore games.
This makes me really sad. That's all I'm saying.
I'm sorry. If they do a hardcore version of Season Discovery, I'm all in.
That actually would be pretty fun because it would be a new experience too.
2 years from now, I guarantee that's the next hardcore.
That's
drop
what they need to do. That's what you're right. That's what they need to do. They need to do hardcore.
I'll play the shit out of hardcore SOD. I put hardcore anything. They do hardcore retail. I'll play it. Although that would not be fun
because they'd also have the raids, leveling up raids too, which would be like all the more, hopefully more incentive.
My greatest dream for hardcore is that they do hardcore Burning Crusade and like expansions beyond that. I understand why that would be difficult because the content is gated behind getting to level 60 on hardcore, but like maybe once you hit level 60 you get like an extra character or something.
Well, I wouldn't even care if they said like you just have to go back to 60. It'd still be
you start at 60. It would be cool if you start at 60, like straight up, like you've gotten to 60 on hardcore, you get to start at 60 on hardcore, that would be fine. But if they ever get that would be my next dream for hardcore.
All right. Ready for the question of the week? Technique got us camera fixed just in time. Just in time. Question of the week. God, like you were such a distraction. Actually, here, so I'm going to pull this back up. Question of the week is from the forum. Okay, Sean, you linked this earlier and you thought it was a good question.
Yeah.
So I'm going to read the whole thing out first. Is it time to remove leveling in retail? I've had this account since 2010, so what, 14 years, 15 years. I have 56 tunes, 48 of them are level 70, 8 are level 80. Okay, I want to put a pin on that. We'll come back to it.
Yeah, that's
it's
insane.
Just really boring. What is that? Kind of like a shrug face with scaling. What's the actual point of it anymore? 1 to 70 takes 3 to 4 hours, 25% of experience bonus, 70 to 80. Leveling feels like a legacy mode that just doesn't fit the modern player. We can still have zones and quest lines, but make them an optional thing. I haven't enjoyed leveling since Legion. Again, going back to my pin there. I've seen 3 polls, and one of them was done by Blizzard themselves. More than 70% of those participating said they'd never read quest texts. It's no longer a journey, just a big inconvenience. Everything is focused on the leveling end level. There's nothing I can do at level 77 except quest and spam the same 4 dungeons. Tell me last time you said you had fun leveling in retail, and please don't bring Classic WoW into the conversation. That was a different time and era, and we all know that. So, my initial reaction, 56 tunes at level 70 plus. Well, of course you're going to be fucking bored.
That's fair.
Sean, so say I have a friend, and I don't know if he watches the podcast, but his name's Twos, and he had to cut back on the amount of characters he had. He had at least one of every spec, and he would level that every. But
that's not even as many as this guy.
Oh no, he had at least. He had more than that, but he made sure he had one of every spec, and to me that was like a lot. But yeah, I think he was like tapped out or had 2 accounts. Like it was stupid.
We'd have to do multiple servers for sure.
I think we can't discount what this guy's talking about though, just because it's like obviously
okay. I wanted to get that out of the way. And
is he recommending or alluding to the wrong solution though? Basically, he's saying like, I have a lot of alts. You should take out leveling because it's boring. Versus make leveling like not boring, and make it like more rewarding to level a character, and make it so it's much harder to have fucking 56 tunes.
I feel like that is what he was saying. Is like either get rid of it or like make it matter.
Well, I think he's saying get rid of it.
Well, I would say like
the OP here is suggesting like, why are we even doing this anymore? Let's get rid of it.
Well, yeah, he's saying anyone only plays for the end game.
When you're talking about when you include scaling, which is why I highlighted that particular comment when you read it out. It's like, yeah, with scaling, dude, you don't even feel like you're getting stronger as you level up because everything around you leveled up too. You're actually weaker because now the items that you're still wearing because you leveled so fucking fast, the items you're wearing are actually weaker. It's so backwards. It feels negatively. When you leveled from 70 to 80, you grew weaker to get 80, and it's boring and backwards. And that's kind of sucked.
Yeah. I kind of want to speak to this.
Sorry, go ahead.
I do feel like leveling, even Blizzard, is kind of like tax it on, because like he said, it only takes like 3 to 4 hours, and it's just like some arbitrary barrier you have to get to the leveling story, right? So I'm talking about like what you do before 70 to 80, right? Like if you want to get into the expansion content, you have to level from 1 to 70, which can take
You're
like
new to the
4
game.
hours.
You're new to the game.
Yeah, you're brand new to the game. So it feels like, okay, if they keep making it faster and easier and throwing like basically handing you free characters like they did with like the Mists of Pandaria thing, like even Blizzard is acknowledging that like this isn't the game they're selling you anymore. Like they're not selling you a leveling experience. They're selling you the end game, and they want you to get there as quickly as possible. And the only reason that they're gating it is just so people can't have 58 characters or whatever the fuck. I think I could be okay with like, you know, once you have a certain amount of characters, like 5 characters or something, you don't have to do the 1 to 70 experience anymore. Like you just like make one, because it does feel so tacked on and arbitrary. I don't think they'll do that. I think what they're going to continue doing is more stuff like the Pandaria thing they did. What was that called?
Well, you can do that. You can buy a
Remix.
boosted character.
Remix. I think they're going to do more stuff
Yeah,
with
they are.
Remix where they
They've confirmed
repackage
Legion
you.
remix coming.
Yeah, they repackage you like have leveling a character. And then you always have the option to kind of do it the old-fashioned way, but it's like now I'm not going to level any characters until that comes out again, you know, any new ones, right? Because I'm just going to wait for it to be a fun and curated experience as opposed to like a kind of thing that I just have to do for 3 hours, you know. Does that make sense?
It makes sense.
Yeah.
It still is. It's a really long conversation and like a decision that is a tough one. But I think it's easy for Blizzard because the answer is like you just said. We don't care what the people want. We want to get them to 80 as fast as we can so they can play the game that we're working on now.
But I feel that's what I think that's what the majority. I'm not going to say all, but I mean
that seems to be the majority.
Yeah, that's what the majority wants. Like that's how I perceive the majority.
I mean, okay, so my first thought when I read this was Final Fantasy 14, right?
Don't know anything about it.
That's like the biggest, I mean, that's what people like about it, but it's also the biggest negative like barrier for entry. It's like, that you have to do 300 hours to get to end game.
It's insane the amount of work you have to put into the game, right? Now, granted, this is not that, but this guy clearly with 56 Tune has done 300 hours worth of leveling.
But Frank, the difference is, and I'm not a Final Fantasy stan by all means. I couldn't get through the story because it got boring at some point.
You
but
mean
like,
Final Fantasy 14 stan, because you are a Final Fantasy stan.
Oh yeah, I am a huge Final Fantasy stan, but 14 stan, no. Is that the game, the leveling experience is enjoyable for 14. The same way that this guy said, don't talk about Classic, because obviously Classic was different because Classic was fun, right? Like, that is the game. And whereas now, like leveling in retail, it's not like particularly difficult, so it doesn't feel particularly rewarding. So I think it's different than 14.
So I hate this assumption in his last line. Please don't bring up Classic WoW because it comes a different game.
Classic was was a different game.
Sure, it was a different game, but it doesn't mean the audience has changed. Everyone makes the assumption like, oh, nobody wants to do that.
The audience has changed. Technique.
It has changed.
Okay, I think that. While that could be true, I don't necessarily think that they should just steer completely away from it and cater to that.
I feel like they already have kind of irrevocably.
Well, sure, yeah. I'm not saying it like I expect them to go and change it. I'm just saying, like, if it was me, I probably wouldn't give it a shit if people didn't want that.
Well, anyway. They're still a company trying to make money, so I feel like they would, if the majority of people wanted it to be like Classic, they would have kept it like Classic. It's just business sense, right? Like in that regard.
Yeah, I think
they want more people to play it.
Well, but what it boils down to is they're not opposed to the idea of making leveling more fun. I would assume, right? It's just that is the energy and the amount of resources they have to pour into it worth it for the people like you, Technique, right? Where you would say yes, but the 3 of us might not say yes, you know, or maybe 2 of us wouldn't say yes.
If leveling was different, would you be quitting the game right now?
I would actually rather make an alt to play the game at a challenging and meaningful level than to just plow through content to get it to 80.
So
I don't care to do that with an alt.
The other game that I thought of is going through an exact replica of what this is suggesting, which is PoE 2. So PoE, in their development cycle, as they built the game, they said, all right, so we have Acts 1 through 3 done, 4, 5, and 6 are not done. But they made a decision, surprisingly, to say, well, we're not even going to work on X4, 5, and 6 yet, or to a degree, right? They stopped at 3 and said, okay, now we're going to make the end game. And in their launch of the early access, they said, we realized that's what everyone's coming here for, is the end game.
Yeah.
Right? And PoE has a great single player experience. It is certainly challenging, which if you've seen anyone talking about it, like PoE is being compared to the idea of Diablo 2 meets Elden Ring, right? Because it's that challenging. So the gameplay is there, like Technique would want, of this, it's not just a slog of leveling up. But you want to have multiple characters, and everyone's coming for the end game experience. Same thing with Diablo 4, arguably, right? That they're just rushing to get to the end.
Oh, Diablo 4, they had to make more things to make it quicker to get to end game, because everyone lost their mind at the idea that it was like, even you said to me, Frank, you're like, what do I want to go
at like level 30?
Well, Frank was like, what, I want to go into another season and do these things again that I already did the last season.
I don't want to level again.
It is a bit different in like WoW, where WoW is like a longer cycle, and like, some games, like, I don't know what PoE's seasonal cycle is, but like Diablo's is typically like 4 months. So I get that. But yeah, no, I'd say with WoW, right now in WoW's where it is, there's anyone, I won't say everyone new, but I'd say the majority of new players coming to WoW are coming because they've heard about it for a long time or some amount of time.
Everything they see on Twitch is endgame.
Or from a friend, and they're like, I want to, like, Whistle wants to play with Haywire.
Like catch up to my friends,
yeah. So it's like, why make this slog of a leveling experience? And we've talked about this like 20 episodes ago, where there should be some way for like you to choose, like, I want to level at this pace or something. Like, there should be some kind of options they can build in to allow people to be like, yeah, I want to make it harder. Like, put some kind of adjuster, like a difficulty slide, and then, Technique might not leave us, and I might not be sad tonight.
The other thing is that we don't talk about, because like is this a problem for new players, or is it a problem for the existing players?
I think it's old players that still look at classic with enjoyment. I don't think new players have any. New players don't have this idea of what it was like in classic.
Well, remember that guy that had the video where he was new to WoW, and he said of the 3,
yeah, the guy, dude, he's doing an awesome hardcore video series that I'm loving.
Jimmy,
from the old school.
What point is
it called?
RuneScape guy.
Don't get up. But what I'm saying though is he did had a lot of criticism. Day 9 did as well of modern WoW, right? And so, like, I don't think removing leveling is the answer. We've already talked about this. I'm not going to go into that any further, other than it needs to have a different purpose.
But
however,
I get. You go on.
Scrap. To answer the question, tell me the last time you had fun leveling in retail. If I had to level right now, I'd look forward to leveling in Wrath of the Lich King again. I fucking love leveling there.
The problem is that you do Dragonblight and then you're max level. You're not going to do the whole Wrath of the Lich King. Well, you're going to miss all the zones.
Can't you? Isn't it scaling now and there too, so that I could go straight to Storm Peaks after I did Howling Ford?
You can, but like you're going to level to 70 before you even get through half the Wrath story. So like you can just do Storm Peaks.
Well, again, that's a different problem to solve for, though, because then it's not. Yeah. Is it time to remove leveling? No, it's time to, adjust it. Like we called out, as Shawnee said 20 episodes ago, right? Because I still think there's a lot of fun, and again, Remix is a perfect example of this. There's a lot of fun to be had in the idea of leveling, because hell, just getting all your talent points that quickly feels fun, right? Like, oh, got this, I got that, I got this.
Remix is a great solution, and I think exactly what I would do to change leveling experience is that like every season there's kind of a new place to level, where it's like, okay, this season we're doing Cataclysm leveling, so it's like it takes there's like a remix.
Already kind of do that though, because you got the Chromie though.
So no. Is that like, oh, there's like some kind of like, okay,
Affix.
this month it's Badlands. Like you can level a character just in Badlands. Go enjoy the Badlands story. Maybe it's even chronological or something like that. Something like Remix. Remix is a great solution to this problem, because I remember from the Jimmy video, what was weird is like, or from my experience, is that like trying to get friends to play, it's like, oh, I have a lot of fun doing time dungeons and raids and these big collaborative sort of competitive game stuff. It's like, well, if you want to play the game with me, you have to do 3 hours of solo content that doesn't really have anything to do with the current story. There is a huge disconnect. Everybody feels that. I don't think there's a clean answer to that, except for something like Remix.
I like your idea though, even if it was like maybe even weekly, right? Where it's not even about the leveling. It's just like, hey, spotlight on Badlands or spotlight on Storm Peaks, where it's like, hey, we're going to make it so that there's a curated story experience in that zone. And, to Technique's point, maybe we increase the difficulty so it feels like a single player game.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can level it in if you want. And, maybe you only get 10 levels out of it, but that's okay because next week will be, Ice Crown Citadel or whatever.
I would love that. That way, like every week, I could be doing story progression. Like,
especially
okay, I've done my 10
take 3 days off
week.
and come back and they totally fucking left you in your zone.
Yeah, but it would be cool if it's like, oh, I've done my 8 keys for the week. It's like, okay, I need to get my 10 levels in Badlands because there's a bonus for Badlands, and so I'd be leveling a character slowly throughout a season.
Yeah, I would say it's fun. Even. Yeah, I was gonna say it'd even be because like if they did it where everyone was in the same zone, it would feel like the launch of an expansion.
It would feel like the beginning of Hardcore, like the beginning of SOD or whatever.
Yeah,
it's like everybody be in this zone,
Imagine this really quick. Imagine like all of the most, like every zone that you would take if you were leveling a classic character, just for example, just think about this scrap. If you leveled a classic character from 1 to 60 in classic WoW, think of all the most like impactful quest stories.
Yeah.
From each zone. Just pick one impactful quest story from each zone. Not all the side quests and stuff. And I think maybe they could cater a campaign that takes you from, because
we've talked about
move speed and action
100%.
speed is so fast.
Yeah.
But you could like just do one quest in Westfall and then it takes you to Duskwood. You do one quest series there.
We've talked about this is that like they need to revamp like the 1 to 70 experience like they did with Cataclysm where they're like, okay, we did it.
No.
Like, let's give you
the idea is the best idea, Scrap. Just
thank you.
Well,
I like idea the best.
This week is Badlands.
I don't think about weekly though, dude. Because like, what if I don't play every single day like we do?
You'd be fine because you'd still. It wouldn't be. It
you
wouldn't be like
Badlands, but you can do Birdie's step.
You'd log in, do a quest in Badlands, or get started in Badlands, and feel like, hey, I'm gonna explore Badlands, and then all of a sudden, like you're in some other place.
You could keep going in Badlands. It just wouldn't be the highlighted area.
But not the highlighted area. Okay.
Yeah, it just say like everyone, this is it, and like it maybe even be instanced to a degree where it's like its own world, so no one on the outside world can impact it. No one can come around and
massively single player.
No, I'm saying everyone would be in the same shard, like Remix, right? Everyone was in Remix. Everyone was in their own shard of Mista Pandaria, right? And at that point, you could like step into the portal or whatever, and you're in the Badlands. And again, it feels like an expansion launch. Everyone's running around and it's busy as hell. Yeah. So it feels like there's an experience. Things slow down, right? And the maybe the experience takes longer to generate, but it feels like a single player but MMO playing experience. You can like the dungeons in that zone are a huge deal, and they make some sort of quest reward for it. And then the next week, and that way, if you don't play but Friday night, you probably could get the whole zone done in a single night if you really like, hey, I'm going to grind the whole night or whatever. And then next week, if you're still in Badlands, you want to keep going, it's still there. Nothing's changed. You're just not in the
you just don't get the special trader's tender or whatever, a new trader's tender or something.
And there's no emphasis on the idea of let's tell the story of the Badlands. Let's tell the story of, Ardenweld or whatever. It's like, hey, let's tell this story of this zone, because I can't think of any zones nowadays, like BC maybe was the Burning Crusade was the only one that like didn't have a cohesive narration of what the overarching story was building towards, because they did it all. They revamped it all in Cataclysm for the classic world. And then Wrath of the Lich King had a very heavy emphasis on each zone kind of told a story. So yeah, I definitely think that would be the solution, because there would be this like, Dark Moon Fair-esque feeling of it. It's like, okay,
just
the fair's
put
in town.
Chromie in charge of it and say Chromie's like, hey, we gotta check out Badlands this week. That's it. Super easy lead in. They could just copy paste it.
And you could even add voice narration to each zone, because you kind of every week as you prepare it. Like, let's say they launch with only the Burning Crusade zones first, right?
Yeah.
But they put a developer and some voice actors in and say, okay, cool. Have someone narrate things as when you complete this quest, it says, well, this is why it's so important that this happened and whatever. Chromie's telling you this or whatever. That'd be so great.
They point out story features. And it would be great, especially if we're tying in like characters, like for example, tying in Illyria in this expansion, and it's like a lot of people go in and they're like, "Who the fuck is Illyria? I didn't play in Legion," or she was.
And now we're gonna do
Legion, right?
what's the Silver Moon zone?
I don't know. Oh, Keldanos?
Yeah, whatever. But like,
no, it's not. It was
whatever. But you know what I mean? Yeah, like, hey, this is the zone this week, and even though that's a 1 to 10 Blood Elf experience that I can't do, they could make it an experience that I could, change into a Blood Elf for the week and do that experience, and it feels hard, and it feels rewarding, and it feels the narration's all there and all that stuff. I think that's the best idea, Scrap, of all the ones I've ever heard. So.
Yeah, I mean, my
I think
dream
you added
idea.
A lot to her idea,
maybe,
but
ironically, my dream idea would be techniques.
And then I could be a Blood Elf for a week.
Yeah, my dream idea
After
would be techniques where they
an hour creating my undead warrior.
Where they revamp the zones and give like a spark notes of each zone sort of thing. The same way they did Cataclysm.
People would still piss through that.
Yeah, they would, because I'm picturing it like a truncated version of what Cataclysm is.
Give the story like story leveling, right? Make them experience it. And again, you don't have to if you don't want to. But for the people like Technique who want to have an MMO classic-esque experience, this week it's Westfall. This week it's, Ngoro Crater or whatever. And, whatever you need to be, a Horde tune or Alliance tune, you can be if you want. And you get to experience the whole zone as is.
Yeah.
Excellent. Love it.
We solved this guy's problem. I hope he watches.
God damn it. We were doing so well, and then this question was going.
Hemut.
Oh, yeah, Hemut. I moved off that screen. Okay. MythicDungeonLeague.com. Let's just go over this real quick. We haven't talked about it forever. You can follow us on Twitter, not X, League Mythic. You can follow us on Twitch, MDL Frank. You will see us playing Plunderstorm next week, and you will see me doing some of the PTR if you want to come and watch that. And of course, you can go to the website to get to our Discord, where we will happily carry donkeys through 10s. Right, Scrap? Right, Shawnee?
I don't know about happily.
I mean, I'm already doing it when I'm playing with you two donkeys. I would with Technique, but...
Oh, Shawnee, it wouldn't be a carry with me there. We would just...
it's always been a carry with you there.
Shawnee, last words for the week.
Wrecked.
Technique resub. Those are my last words.
Scrap.
Technique play hardcore with me.
He's going to have to catch up, and he's nowhere even close, and you'll die.
I'm very slow. He can catch up.
He can't help himself when it comes to escort quests. He hears escort, and he goes, escort.
I had to rescue the goblin. I had to.
Yeah.
We both died as a result.
Technique. Being that if you unsub, I think it's probably best we find someone who is still interested in the game. This might be, at least for a time being, I hope you'd come back, but this might be one of the last times we see you if you don't feel like you want to contribute anymore. Do you have anything
until next season?
Well, I think he's coming back. I don't think he's
definitely coming back. He's full of shit.
I'm still a good-looking old guy that has a perspective on things.
Sure, but the more and more you get removed from it, the more and more you're gonna just sit there and stare at your screen.
Well, I had to
camera.
focus on reading your thing. Yeah, man, I don't know. That's up to you guys. If you want to have me back, that'd be great. And if
that pressure.
Come on, we can't. This podcast is all about you, Gramps.
Yeah, that's right. The CEO of Flashbangs.
You got to come back.
What flashbang?
He's so funny.
No, I don't know what's going to happen with that yet. Right now, just other things. I feel like
it's fair, bro.
No, it's not fair.
Either way,
come back.
I love you, and you do what makes you happy.
You've been playing with us since BFA, right? I don't think you've taken a break since BFA.
Yeah,
I mean, you've obviously stopped playing to play other games at the end of seasons, sure, but like you haven't not been there for a season.
Right, let's not do therapy. Let's wrap it up.
No. All right.
We'll see, man. I don't have an answer for you. We'll see.
Jackass. Okay. All right. Well, yeah, my last words are come back, Technique. And I'm sure the comment section would all say, we get it, you need a break, that's totally fine, but season 2, February 25th, right, Scrap?
March 3rd.
That's my birthday. Yes.
Oh, okay. Shauna, what do you want for your birthday?
Technique to play
WoW. My god.
Oh, shut the fuck up, man. You don't give a damn.
My birthday's a week after that. You know what I want?
What?
Technique to play WoW?
No, I want a copy of Civ 6 or Civ 7. All right. Anyways.
Way better.
What do I want for my birthday? I don't know, man. I don't know. just hug. Hug would be nice.
It's gonna be an expensive flight, but yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Shiny. Hug.
You know, oh, dude, you know what would be like? For amazing. Yeah, no, I can't say that online. That's a horrible thing to say.
I want some new Dota skins.
Okay,
you know, I would somehow to you know, be able to see a bunch of you guys.
Well, like Gen Con's coming up.
Gen Con is.
We're gonna go see. We're gonna go see Hans Zimmer in Nashville on February 2nd. Buy some tickets.
Is he doing the Spirit soundtrack, dude?
Probably. He's gonna do
his most notable work.
All right, we gotta go.
Hold on. No, I want one more thing. I meant to warn you guys about this, but I forgot.
Please wrap it up.
2025 New Year's WoW resolution, Shawnee.
No.
You already know mine.
To be a goldfish and just to let things go and not worry about what happened 5 minutes ago.
Okay, Scrapclaw.
Play more casually.
Casually? That's not. No. Ugh.
I want to try.
What game are you like wanting to chase after more?
No, I just want to be less wound up by stuff.
Wound up. Okay. So Shawnee and you want less stress in the game. Technique, you want to not play the game.
Well, I want to refer to her answer and say that's kind of the feeling. I hate logging in and be like, oh, I need to do and I need to get and I got to check these fucking boxes. It's not like it's hard and it's hardly even fun. The only thing that makes it fun is that it's you guys there.
My stress.
That's kind of where I'm at this point.
My stress is from the people I play the game with.
Yeah. So that's kind of why I don't really feel a big draw to come back to the game right now. I hate when it feels like a chore and when I feel like I'm stressing to get something done. In hardcore, that is a very casual, at my own pace. I feel I'm doing it because I kind of want to, because I'm chill.
Yeah.
But I don't want to do that right now either. So anyway, that's just kind of where my 2025 resolution is. So far, I'm 8 days in. I'm not drinking at the house anymore, which is great. And I'm not playing WoW, which is also great.
Right so healthy.
Resolution will end February 24th or whatever it was.
No, March 3rd.
March 3rd.
March 3rd. Thank you, Technique.
So my resolution is
Let's hear it, Frank.
To get more receipts.
Oh my god, yours is unhealthy.
Yours is 100%
more chores.
More toxic.
No,
yeah, yours is unhealthy.
Scrap. So I'll try to get the meme that you posted, but you essentially said that I'm the person that will pull out a paragraph when someone slighted me in the slightest bit.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just writing that down. But no, I say that jokingly. I'm not trying to be toxic. I'm not trying to be an ass. However, I am trying to do more data diving because I feel like even some of the other things that, yes, at first I'm like, why didn't you do this or why didn't you do that? Was not the best way for me to approach it. I think if we want to be more successful in our keys, which I know all of us do, even if you want to be casual.
I don't want to. I want to be more casual.
No, bullshit.
Yours clashes with mine.
You're so full of shit. The second I overtake you in IO, you're going to light up.
Dream big.
Shawnee, true or false? Will she do something about being overtaken in IO?
Yeah, you know what?
Hold on. True or false? Have you overtaken her in IO this season?
No.
I'm not. No, I purposely been not talking about it.
No, you have not taken me.
Yes, I have.
Even though you literally are checking my radar IO every day, I'm not.
Not only am I checking your radar IO, I'm looking for receipts. I pull your Warcraft logs to see what happened.
See, that's not healthy, I feel like.
It's not healthy, but
He's looking in the rearview mirror. He's looking in the mirror.
Yeah. I am now officially ahead of you in IO, Scrap. So you I've been purposely not
set up right now, Scrap.
I don't know about that.
I don't know about that.
Scrap, I'm looking it up.
Don't worry, I'll let Shawnee. We'll hit the 2 hour mark by then.
He won't even let me retire in peace.
I'm just proving that you have the addiction that you say you're going to go casual.
I just want to say I know 100% what Scrap would do, and it will be what she always does is say
she'll fix it.
No, I remember Scrap was like, "Look, guys, E-team, like I like playing with you guys, but I got other friends that I like to play with."
Because they care
so much.
Who are good.
So much that she just stopped playing with us. So yeah, like
there's not Frank, a single key on her best of that she has in there.
Oh, you're not my best of.
Scrap, you're sitting at a night, like you're really close to 3K. you're sitting at a 2936.3.
Yeah.
Frank is sitting at a 2936.7.
What? That's not an overtake.
100% it is. His eye level's above yours.
Well, I haven't been playing for a month.
You are such a fucking donkey.
You point 4 points ahead of me, Frank. Come on now, that's not an overtake.
I want to point out that within the guild, there's this Azradon person.
Yeah, Phoenix.
Yep.
I'm gonna overtake him by the weekend, I think.
He has 2992.9 IO.
You'll definitely overtake me because I'm going to Georgia this weekend.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
I mean, he has overtaken you. So
Snowpocalypse
24 points.
Let's say, be careful out there in Georgia this weekend, bro.
I know it's supposed to snow.
All right, now we're just pandering to each other.
I literally was like, I have to let my dogs out.
Well, this is the first I'm hearing about the dogs. Don't do animal cruelty, Scrap. Jesus.
No, I know. I've been stressing though. It's been 2 hours.
For everyone from around the Mage table, Happy New Year. We are appreciative of you. Hope 2025 brings us even more bounties and more chests. And we look forward to seeing you all. And thank you again for coming back. Take care.
Bye.